every... What day is it?
Tuesday?
Tuesday night, his ghost returns to wreak his horrible vengeance.
Oh, but tonight's Tuesday night.
Then he'll be coming.
This is so fucking cool.
It is fucking cool.
Shut the fuck up.
Nobody pays any attention to you unless you swear every other word.
Some of the writers love Star Trek. I was not really a fan. My producing partner never saw it.
The interesting thing to me was I stopped listening to you when you said you didn't like Star Trek.
The goal is not really to promote Star Trek and to use our platform, not really to promote Star Trek, to use our platform.
Sheer fucking hubris.
An unmitigated disaster.
You think I don't know the real reason Jacob Kane won't put a bullet in her?
What are you talking about?
That if Alice weren't white, she'd be dead. If Alice weren't white, she'd be dead.
Shut the fuck up. So...
You're like, no, you lost 50% of your audience.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him.
Well, then the outside world isn't for you.
People that are perpetuating this false premise are not doing good work. That's another part of the problem. If you want to be a woke artist, good fucking luck.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved. Don't buy my book. Problem solved.
Joining them is a new fan favorite character from the comics, America Chavez. Fan favorite.
No. I'm telling you, these SJWs, they're going to run companies into the fucking ground.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
Morty, do you know what the Bechdel test is?
The what?
For God's sake, Morty, the formula for measuring female agency in a story proposed by lesbian cartoonist Allison. What the hell are they teaching you in that school?
Why is lesbian part of her job title?
Oh, now you're progressive?
This idea of purity and you're never compromised and you're always politically woke and all that stuff, you should get over that quickly.
I raise myself up momentarily. I feel my ego momentarily if I put you down.
What a bunch of pussies. Back in my day, if you wanted to tease someone, you did it to their face. There was honor, respect. These geeks hide behind their computers. What a bunch of spineless losers. You're not afraid of these losers, are you?
No.
Are you gonna take shit from these losers?
No.
Good, because when I'm done with you, you're gonna be sending a message back. Only it's not gonna be with your keyboard. It's gonna be with your fists.
The real question and the real problem that I think that Hollywood has is Hollywood is making their stories inauthentic in order to have more authenticity and to be more inclusive. The stories themselves are being compromised. And that, my friends, I think is the real problem in Hollywood.
Hold it right there. Pronoun trouble. Lemonade, please. I made it just for you. You are my best friend.
You should get over that quick. Get over that quick.
Green lights, baby. Let's go.
Say, kids, what time is that?
Tonight's Tuesday night.
And a very special Tuesday night that would be. How's everybody doing?
Doing okay. How about yourself?
Awesome.
All right. We'll go around the horn while we wait for everyone else and then get to our esteemed guest, who's right down here. We'll start over to... Oh, wait, I'm getting the hang of this thing.
You got it.
There you are. The one and only Lady Geek Time. Stacy, how are you?
I'm awesome, thanks.
How was the week?
Quick again, it just flies by, man.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. And it's funny because I pulled these headlines and stuff only like 3 or 4 days ago, and they seem like I pulled them like 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
It's insane. Below Stacy would be the OG Geek Timer himself, Peter Bradley.
Hello.
How are you, Ren?
I peed on my shoe.
I'm doing good. I'm getting a little sick of winter. Sick of driving around in it, but I'm making do.
Yes, we got hit with another little. It wasn't much today, but it was enough to add stress because I got held up at work with these guys, and I had to fly home in the snow, and I got here like 20 minutes ago and ate a protein bar and had a quick mug of Cara Dune tea because that's what I do, and logged on. So here we are. I would be Keith, also known as Mr. Cara Dune, for tonight. And now below me, I would like to introduce the one and only Mr. Kamran Pasha. Thank you so much for coming on our channel.
Well, I'm honored and delighted. It's the first time I've been on your channel, and I'm just hoping that I don't drive away your chat. I something of value to you today.
I don't think that could possibly happen. So I just quickly want to bring our audience up to speed how this happened. I tend to go on other people's streams, and I was hanging out, and I think it was Doomcock's stream that you were on, and I just typed in the chat like, "Oh, I can't wait till my channel's semi big enough to have someone like Cameron come on," and you said, "Send me a DM on Twitter, and I'll see what I can do." So I did, and here we are.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah, and I'd like to say, because I've been so outspoken in the past year about Hollywood and what's happening there, don't have a lot of love inside my own industry right now. So I love having the YouTube crowd, because they're my only friends now, and I'm gonna keep expanding that friend base if I can.
Oh well, we are so thrilled to have you here, and that's why, because you've been such a good friend to the fandom menace, if you will.
Yep. And
since we're new menaces, it's kind of cool. Like we feel like you do. Like we're kind of getting into the little clique, finding our friends on YouTube.
The amazing thing about YouTube is that there are channels that I, was introduced on a year ago suddenly have thousands and thousands of subscribers and have quantum leaped, and they're monetized, and so your journey is just beginning, and who knows where you guys are going to be in a year. I mean, I watched Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers start off with 5,000 viewers, so now he's probably 500,000 at this point, and I watched that journey happen, and so good luck and success, and I hope I can add to that.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yes, much appreciated.
We've been looking forward to this one for a while, so have you on before we
get started. I appreciate that we have the lovely Stacy here, because I'm tired of being brought on a channel to just do
that's my part. I think I play, good balance. I kind of balance it out a little bit sometimes.
Stacy's great, and it's funny, her timing couldn't have been better. I was just formulating this whole idea and putting things into motion, and I haven't seen Stacy in years, and she texted me and she says, "Oh, I'm getting stir crazy. I want to do something creative," and I said, "I got the perfect thing for you."
Yeah.
Knowing her sensibilities, her pragmatism, her intellect, and her love of movies and television. Right. And she's been the most welcome addition to our show. And I think the reason it's working is because we added Stacy.
Yeah, nobody watches it for the dudes. You guys got to
Let's just call a spade.
I hope I have something to offer, that's the goal.
Speaking of brilliant and attractive women, let's acknowledge that Lorena Creole is watching.
Hey.
Lorena, we want you in here too at some point. So we must chat. I've been watching your streams as well. So
I was just on with Lorena earlier, and I told her that I was going to be on your channel, and she delightfully said, "I'd be happy to support it."
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Love it.
Yeah. So anytime we'll have to work on that. So Cameron, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and then we can dive into as I want to put it out to you.
Sure.
What happened to our franchises?
Well, my background is this. I'm Kamran Pasha. I'm a screenwriter. I'm a novelist. I've been working in Hollywood for 20 years. Background, I was born in Pakistan and immigrated to the U.S. in 1976 when Gerald Ford was president. And good old days there. I mean, the world has changed quite a bit since those years. And I was a former lawyer, former journalist. I sold my first screenplay when I was working at a law firm in New York, and I said, "Oh my God, I can do this!" And I moved to Los Angeles in 2001, and April will be the year 20 since I've been doing this. And Worked on a lot of shows. I've sold a bunch of movies that haven't been made yet. Hopefully one day one of my movies will get made. But I've worked on a lot of television that has been produced. We started off on The Twilight Zone with Forrest Whitaker, that version on UPN. My big break was a show called Sleeper Cell, which is about a Muslim FBI agent infiltrates Al-Qaeda. That got a lot of awards. Then I did a bunch of genre shows like Bionic Woman and Nikita and Kings. Most recently, I was a co-executive producer on Roswell, New Mexico. I was there for the first season, and now, this past year, I've been developing my own shows, which I hope will be sold this year. And I've published a few novels, and we can talk about all that over the journey. But the thing that's gotten me a lot of attention is that I've been somewhat outspoken in the past year as a professional screenwriter who's actually like in the Writers Guild doing this for 20 years about the wrong path that Hollywood has been taking in the past few years. And it's gotten me a bit of notoriety within my own industry because people are like, man, you can't actually say that out loud. I'm like, yeah, but yeah, it was privately. Yeah. But nobody's going to say that out loud. I'm like, well, I'm going to say it out loud.
Yeah. And I found you on Midnight's Edge. I think the first time I saw you was about a year ago.
Yeah.
Maybe it was in the spring. You were with Tom Connors, and it was riveting. It was like a 3-hour stream, and I was like sucked in. And I was like, oh my God, Cameron's awesome. Like you just did not hold back. And I really appreciate your honesty and your candor, whether people like it or not. It's the truth hurts, right?
Well, I mean, I've reached a stage, and over the course of my journey, I've experienced a lot of obstacles, and I'm very open about those obstacles. As some of your audience may know, I'm a practicing Muslim, which is very rare in Hollywood, and I think a lot of people would be surprised by this, that there is a great deal of hostility towards Muslims in Hollywood. Certainly, conservative religious ones like myself, right? If you're sort of woke, they're all cool with it, right? But if you're a traditional religious person of any kind, they're very uncomfortable with it. And so I've had a lot of obstacles in my career from that. And people will be straightforward. They'll tell you they're not going to hire you for that reason, or they'll make sure you know that, because what are you going to do? You're going to sue them? Your career ends. So because of that journey, I've made so many adversaries over the last 2 decades that I'm like, all right, well, I'll talk openly about the industry because you guys put me in a position I got nothing to lose, right? I still have a career, but that's a career that I've seized with my own hands, and so you're not going to take that away from me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, and I'm sure you're sick of talking about these same topics over and over.
Well, whatever. I get to grumble about my industry. I love it.
And we will reap the rewards of that. So, clearly I trying to pinpoint where this got so ridiculous and out of hand. Actually, before we get that far, we have 2 more people joining us here. First would be way over.
This way is okay.
Career as a weatherman is over before it starts. Way over yonder
Edson
is the one and only Edson Gomes.
Hi, Cameron.
Buddy.
Welcome, Edson. I like your hat, man. It's cool.
Oh, thank you.
Edson's been excited about this since I forwarded your DM. I said, look at this. We're getting Cameron. He was like, no way.
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah.
And I don't know if Jason, can you hear us? Can you see us? He's gone. He's having internet trouble. Jason is a writer in San Diego.
Okay, wonderful.
He self-published his first novel recently, and his brother is one of our core cast people who's editing a video or something right now.
Yeah,
Gotta make a headline.
I think so.
Well, what I can say, it's been interesting for me because I'm a novelist, and yes, please do. Lorena's saying she'd love to come on. Definitely, she's wonderful. But I, like I said, I'm a novelist as well, and what I've been delighted to watch over the last 2 decades is self-publishing went from something that wasn't reputable to something that is not only reputable, it is very profitable for the author in particular in the last several years. It's delightful for me to watch authors taking back their power from the publishers and reaping the rewards.
Awesome.
Yeah, actually, 2 weeks ago, we had a guest from the collective on, Edwin Acevedo. He had launched a fundraiser or a crowdfunding campaign for his first ever comic book. And in 1 week, he surpassed his goal. So, we're seeing more and more of this. And of course, it comes with the hashtag Comicsgate, and you're a bad person, and,
whatever. Those are the cries into the void as you make your money and put it in the bank.
Right, exactly. So we're really thrilled. Edwin, if you're watching, congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking for. I hope you double that or triple that before it's over. You got 3 weeks of gravy now, so
nice.
All right.
So Jason's joined us. He's there. We can see him.
There he is.
There he is. So you're both out there in is it sunny or is it
Hello,
still raining
everybody.
out?
You can see I should put my curtains. At some point, I'm going to put my curtains on because it's a little too intense. But yeah, it's sunny. I'm in Santa Monica, which is
nice.
Oh wow.
you know, and in San Diego, which has one of the loveliest beaches in the world. So
I'm actually headed out there in about 3 weeks to see my daughter.
Yeah.
I'm out there all the time, but I haven't been recently because for obvious reasons. But
well, San Diego, for at least a while in this journey, was a little more open than Los Angeles. I mean, Los Angeles is basically North Korea at this point, right?
yeah, that's where I gotta go. I gotta go to LA. So,
Where San Diego, I was actually when the Kim Jong-il regime came in to take over Los Angeles, I went down several times, drove all the way 2.5 hours, 3 hours to San Diego just to eat at a restaurant.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been frustrating because every time I book a flight or something, you're locked down again. Like you stay at home locked down.
Yeah.
You know, like,
People in California are being to wake up that maybe this ain't about health. They're being
Yeah.
we're gonna figure out maybe this isn't about health. They're wake slow but sure. Yeah.
We'll have that small town feel.
oh, I think Jason's
Oh
having
boy.
internet.
Internet
problems.
issues.
Long
Connection
distance
issues.
internet.
Maybe the internet got
Those
cool.
lords don't like what we're talking about. Let's get off that stuff and back to
Crap, Big Brother's onto us.
Oh my goodness.
You'd be
There are
surprised.
really so many
You'd be
branches.
surprised. You know what? After 20 years in the industry, I will promise you that whatever conspiracy theories you have about what happens in the media, you haven't even scratched the surface of what really happened.
Oh man.
I've seen it with my own eyes, and I've it's quite shocking when people are like, wait, that's actually not like a crazy story from some right-wing newspaper. Like, yeah, no, that's what happens here.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think the positive thing that came out of the coup for me was that I shut off things I didn't want to spend money on just to save some money until I could figure out. I'm self-employed. I'm a production guy, so all my work went away. You know,
Last year was hard for everybody, particularly production guys. Yeah.
right. And unemployment's not structured for the self-employed. You're kind of like early on. They're like, nah, you're on your own. So I was applying at Uber, and oh my god, what am I gonna do? And till they figured it all out with the was it PUC money or PUA money, whatever that was. Things are righting themselves now. I'm actually swamped, but
good. That's delightful to hear. A lot of my friends went under last year.
Yeah.
I was able to keep afloat. There was a lot of scary moments in that keep afloat where I'm like, I'm not going to be able to keep afloat, right? But a lot of my friends didn't keep afloat, and there's people. Several of my friends have left LA, have left the industry permanently. Last year, February 2019, they could never have imagined that they'd be out of Los Angeles and out of the industry 6 months later. The world right down.
I've thrown a few bucks at some GoFundMe's for production people I know out there who have they're like anything will help me, and I'll flip them $50 because I feel bad because I'm working again and they're stuck. It's awful.
And now again, I care a lot about the issue of the lockdowns and the things. Certainly the kinds of rules and restrictions that have been placed by unions around how production can start up again, they're certainly making it challenging to actually produce, as in production, right? And we saw that big blow up that Mr. Cruz had with his crew members, these poor crew members being abused because they were, a foot closer watching the monitor than they should have been, right?
Right.
I mean, that it's even with, because our industry has to virtue signal on these issues. And so we got to make it really hard so we can keep everyone safe and healthy, which I would suggest is not the agenda. But the end result is production. I know several projects I know of, TV projects were greenlit, even in the midst of all this craziness. They were greenlit to series last year. They hired the writing staff. I had friends on the writing staffs. The writers wrote the scripts over the summer. And then when all the production rules were put into place, the network said, yeah, we can't actually make the show under those rules. And so they were all fired. And, then scripts, shows were canceled. These shows I know. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, great. You've created a rule that nobody can actually function under. Oh, well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing some corporate live event stuff right now. It's a hybrid live event where the C-suite, the executives are coming in with no audience. And even that, like we're trying, you cannot social distance in production. You cannot do it.
No, you cannot.
We're right on top of each other like normal. Yeah. What are you going to do?
It's like they put restrictions. They could only have one person working the camera. I mean, camera crews are very extensive for a reason. And they're very tight on each other for a reason. Right.
Yeah.
It's the world we're in. Hopefully, we'll get into a better world this year.
I'm positive. I'm trying to remain positive that there's only so long they can stretch this out, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's at some point the entire thing comes crashing down, and even our evil overlords like, hey man, I'm getting broke, right? And so even those guys get incentivized to fix something.
Well, we saw today Disney closed Blue Sky Studios right here in Connecticut.
Yeah,
right. You
know,
know,
that Fox merger, the end result of that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I used to go down there a lot. I had an actual real job for 2 years, which was a huge mistake. And I thought I wanted to have a cushy corporate techie job. No. But I was down there a lot when they were making the Peanuts movie. And it's a shame. I mean, 500 people have got their walking.
Thanks. Yeah.
Well, in some ways, because we can talk about one of the reasons I think you asked me on it is talk about where, like I said, where we've come with our franchises. You know, one would argue that perhaps some of the suffering that my industry is going through or our industry is going through is a little bit of karma, right? You know, there's a lot of bad juju that's happened in this industry, and now, especially because of various political correctness that we've all adopted, even though nobody actually believes the things that they're saying, but they're all saying them. It's reached a place where, like, now, in order to keep that narrative going, we're strangling our industry to death. So,
yeah, I no more emblematic than Lucasfilm, where there's this bizarre schism over there, where half the company feels like they need to attack fans, and what they did 2 weeks ago with this what's her name, Christina Ariel, and the fact that the company officially backed her after a year of those like horrific. I mean, if you took any of those tweets and swapped out the word white for anything else, you're strung up by your Buster Browns, as Mayor Vaughn would say in Jaws. But no, they double down and back it.
Well, you know why? And I've said this in other casts, and I actually just said this on Lorena's show just a couple hours ago. And I speak for this as a minority, as what the old word was person of color. Now it's bi person of color, Black, Indian, person of color, whatever. Okay, so whatever, BIPOC, whatever. As one of those, this is one of the most racist industries I've ever experienced, and it's all the racism is all coming from people that say all the right things.
Of course,
like, you know, I voted for Obama, I voted for Hillary, I voted for Biden, and you know, and look, my maid is Mexican, right? And they'll say all that stuff, and they are the most profoundly racist people I've ever encountered. And because their belief is minorities are inherently inferior, they need a helping hand up to a certain level, which is they can never go to a level where they might actually threaten me, the boss, and take my job. And so we structure the situation so that we keep pandering to them, but make sure that they do not have self-respect, they do not have self-esteem, and most importantly, they do not have power. Right. And so there's a reason Lucasfilm came out and supported all those tweets, because they can look really wonderful and liberal. But, you know, if you remember Lucasfilm, they had this African-American woman who was a sort of low-level executive that got a lot of attention in the early days of Kathleen Kennedy. And then when sort of the shit hit the fan with The Last Jedi and fan backlash, she was let go. Not a single white executive was let go. She was let go. And I said at the time, she's going to be let go, because they're putting her out in the New York Times as, look, we have a black woman working at Lucasfilm. She's the one they're going to blame. And she has no power whatsoever. And I said that 6 months before she was fired.
Wow.
I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes on TV shows. The minority token comes in, the minority token is abused, the minority token goes out. It's literally a revolving door. And I've had very painful conversations with powerful people that they're doing this. And then, you know, I'm not asked back the next season after that. So,
yeah, you know, we've talked to a couple of people about that, where, you know, they check all their boxes. We saw the whiteboard from the High Republic writers' room.
Yeah, they had all the things. We got to have this gender thing. We got to have this.
Yeah, and at the bottom was interesting characters or whatever it said. It was like. But we've talked about the fact that they check the boxes and they put this representation in, but they don't do them any justice. They're degraded, stereotypical representation, right?
Yeah, they're poorly written, just like in The Last Jedi. All the minority characters were poorly written. I said that right after I saw the movie. I said, this is a racist movie. You know, Finn, who was at least an interesting character,
the only one,
movie, right? The only one, but he was like, all right, I want to see where the stormtrooper goes, right? Even that one had a little bit of like, well, he's a janitor? Okay, but okay, even that, I was like, all right. But and then he's the first time we see him, he's this bumbling buffoon with this stupid plastic thing with water coming out, right? And then he's got his idiotic, nonsensical non-romance with Rose, who is, Kelly Marie Tran is an incredible actress. She's a beautiful actress, and they made her look ridiculous and dumpy. They gave her a poorly written role that was degrading, humiliating, and her whole arc makes no sense. And I was like, why are you doing this to her? I walked out of the movie and this is racist. And I was attacked by some of these woke people when I started saying that publicly, saying that you're the racist, man. You don't support the black character, the Asian character. I'm like, I support a really well-written black and Asian character. And they, Lando Calrissian was a well-written character, and then finally, when the gentleman who played Finn finally spoke up and started saying, I was treated poorly on the show and my arc was humiliating, then suddenly all those woke people became real quiet. Real quiet.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you were on John Boyega's side, right? When he came out in GQ and lambasted him. Yeah, I couldn't believe the direction they took him in. I really couldn't.
I could, because I went on shows where that's happened, where I've said, why are we doing this to the character? And then it's like, okay, thank you very much. You can be quiet now. Right.
Well, you think back to the Force Awakens trailer, and he's the first person you see, right? And he's got he stood up, he's sweating, and he's got the stormtrooper outfit on. You're kind of trying to figure out, is he in disguise? Then you watch the movie, and he clearly defects, and so you got this stormtrooper with a conscience, like a moral compass, right? And what I took from it is he might have been on his first little away mission, because they show him going down, and I think he didn't expect the genocide that he saw, the slaughter. And I think that's
down to a whole village. I mean, they've been told they're these heroic people bringing order to a chaotic galaxy.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they have to kill all these kids and old people. And like, wait, I didn't sign up for that.
Right.
Well, I didn't sign up because he was abducted. Essentially, he was,
right. So he defects, and later in the movie, he picks up a lightsaber. So you wonder if he's even got some force sensitive. Or,
you can't handle a lightsaber that easily. You kill yourself very likely.
Right. you figure that this is going to be the centerpiece. I mean, they had already made it clear that Rey was the bestest ever, but you could have. I think Finn should have been the core character of the whole thing. Then you get to the next one, and 30 minutes in, he said, I used to mop the floors there.
Yeah. I mean, but look, that's this industry. So you're asking earlier what happened to our franchises. What happened to our franchises is a lot of smug, fake liberal types came into our industry, and they went from being the sort of the annoying person in the room that would always say, we've got to be more PC, to actually running the whole thing, right? That's where we are.
So I tend to pinpoint this back to Ghostbusters 2016. Because up to that point, I mean, you saw it here and there. It wasn't a prevalent movement. But when that trailer dropped and it had that huge ratio of like versus dislike, millions of haters, right? And and then the cast and the director, Paul Feig, go out on national TV and start attacking the paying customer. And that seems to me the exact moment that this all started. It at the level it's at now.
And it was linked to something, which I've said before. And again, now we're getting to the dangerous topic of politics, but it was linked to, this was the time when Trump was rising in the national polls, and the industry suddenly made everything about Trump. It has made everything about Trump for the last 4 years. And even now that he's gone, it still makes everything about him, right? And so this was all about everything if you don't support this movie, you must be a rabid Trumper, right? I'm like, look, I got my issues with Trump and I'm happy to critique him, and I do. But I'm like, this movie sucks, man. What are you doing here? One of the greatest franchises from my childhood, why are you messing with it like this? There's no reason to do what you've done to it. Make this ridiculous joke with these good actors. And Feig is a good director. I've enjoyed many of his movies. Look, what's happening here? Literally, the whole thing was like, you're just making a movie to lecture us about what you think we should be. And that was the beginning, because then there were a bunch of them after that. They all failed.
Yeah. Yeah, you had the Charlie's Angels. You had the
Terminator Dark Fate,
Birds of Prey, and all. Birds of Prey was the last of them, and it would have been the end of this whole sort of let's preach and write bad movies, but preach. It would have, because all those movies lost money for the studios, and they'd woken up to it. The problem was that, and the industry, and I've said this before, the industry had figured out already a year before. They had figured out from Last Jedi that they were on the wrong path, but they had all these movies in production. They had to put them out, right? And so Right. Birds of Prey was the last one. By Terminator, they knew they were done. By Charlie's Angels, they knew we have to stop this, right? But they had to get that last one out, and it failed, and they went out there. And they were already, the industry was ready to go back to normal. The execs were like, we got to make money here. This isn't what the audience wants. Let's move forward. And then the events of last year happened, and it wasn't just the events of the virus. It was the events of, the summer. We had, Mr. Floyd's killing, and then we had the riots that came after that, and BLM and Antifa and all this. And suddenly the industry became, oh my God, if we don't keep doing this thing that we don't want to do anymore, they're going to set fire to the studio lot. And so now they're going back to regurgitating, but their heart's not in it because they know it doesn't work, but they got to do it out of fear now.
And it's infiltrated sports. It's infiltrated comic books. It's infiltrated just about everything out there in pop culture now. I turned on the Super Bowl pregame the other day, and the first took 30 seconds. 30 seconds. And I was like, oh my God, I just shut it off. And it's sad because it's gotten me to the point where it's difficult for me to watch anything because I'm like my heightened awareness. It's like I'm almost looking for it. Even if it's not there, I'm almost hallucinating that it is. You know what I mean?
Well, and I definitely want to hear from the rest of the panel because I'm talking a lot, so I apologize. But I want to throw out for the panel to raise, any of you guys fans of Cobra Kai? I started watching it for the first time a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. See,
we love it. Yeah.
And I was a fan of the original movies, and they captured what should have been done with the Star Wars movies. They should have because you love all the characters and you believe where all of them are.
Right.
Yes. And it's not like this simplistic Daniel good guy versus Johnny bad guy. Johnny's really the hero of the show.
Yep.
It's actually the villain that you need because everyone is a moron in this generation. He's the villain. We're all crazy. I'm going to put you back on track with Cobra Kai. And Johnny has become Daniel has become a little bit of that douchebag. He went from being the hero to the guy that still lives in high school, living off of his old glory, and he's become a bit of a selfish douchebag now that Mr. Miyagi's not there, and it's 100% believable. It's not the fall of Skywalker. You know why Daniel has become that guy because you've met that guy. We all know that guy who's living in high school, who's still got trophies, right? Yep. And he's now a bit of a douche, right? Because that's what he's got going for him. And Johnny, who's had life punch him in the face, is now trying to be mature. This is the natural human evolution of characters, so you buy it.
Do you see this as a sign that there might still be a turning? I mean, how much longer do you see the Hollywood going?
Well, I want to answer
before
that
they fix it.
Stacey, because I said the lovely lady has to speak, and so it's Stacey saying something.
Sorry, Stacey.
No, don't be sorry. The thing I think about is like, I mean, my whole perspective is how do we make things better? Like, what do we need to do to make things better, right? So are we blaming like these high-level executives that are racist, or are we blaming the Twitterverse who bitch and complain about and are offended by everything? And in turn, now that's why the studios are kowtowing to this obnoxious behavior and cancel culture and whatever. So what do we do as regular people that enjoy just good entertainment without all the extra, crap to kind of just live to some certain expectation? Like how do we make things better? Like that's where I come from. What do we do from there?
So I'm going to answer both Stacey and Edson. So together. So I think what you do is you support things like Cobra Kai because the industry has noticed it's the #1 show on Netflix. I mean, it was on YouTube Red. Nobody watched it on YouTube Red. A handful of people watched it when it was on YouTube. Right. When it came out in Netflix, right? I hadn't seen it. I was very nervous about it. So I hadn't bothered to get onto YouTube to check it out. I was like, I don't want to mess with it. I've already had Luke Skywalker ruined. I don't want to mess with this. I hear it's good. I don't want to trust it. When it came out on Netflix, I watched it. I'm halfway through season 2, and I can't stop watching it. I'm utterly addicted to it. And it's become the #1 show. And Netflix has noticed that.
Okay.
The industry has noticed that. And the fact that these guys are coming on Good Morning America, the actors, all their careers have quantum leaped. Right? They're back. These guys are all 80s washed up actors who are now the biggest stars in the world. Yeah. And they're loving it. And people are loving the show. And it's at a time, it's a family show. You can watch it with any age. And it has no problem mocking the silliness of our current environment. One of my favorite moments in season 2, without giving you spoilers, is this Johnny, who's now got the Cobra Kai studio all set up, and he's got a lot of people coming. And so you gets a call from a parent who wants to sign up their kid for karate. So he's like, yes, the parents are like, oh yes, it's open to both boys and girls. And he's listening, goes, gender what? He just hangs out, right? Because He doesn't understand where the weirdo narrative that we're living in today is. He's a dude from the 80s and he doesn't get it. And that's a way to comment on how silly our current environment is.
I wish I could be just as like socially naive as Johnny sometimes, just completely pooped out, you know?
Oh yeah.
And I think the thing that makes it, we've talked about this a million times already, right? But like the character of Johnny, like he is kind of ignorant in a lot of ways, but it's not in any hateful kind of way. It's more like just kind of, everybody has that family member that like isn't meaning to be mean in any way or whatever. It's just they are how they are, and he's never like
they're still on the island,
and they're likable, and it's like he's likably on PC because he's not like, you know. I think that's a good thing.
But the fact that the show is so successful is a sign. The fact that it's number one on Netflix,
Yeah.
You know, it's only been out a couple of months, number one on Netflix, right? Is because people love his character.
Absolutely.
Love the fact that he is the truth speaker. So the bean counters are going to notice this. In fact, and they're going to create more of them. It's just they have to overcome. In fact, I'm actually believing, again, going to politics. Now that the gentleman that most of the industry wanted is in power, they can now get off the, we have to, you know,
be hypersensitive
out of political.
Yeah.
Now we can just go back to making money.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that. I mean, we kind of get so, you know, overwhelmed by the shenanigans of the Twitterverse and, you know, how ridiculous it is. And I mean, I think I've been saying for weeks now, like since the beginning, that like, this is a group. And when, you know, the higher ups realize this is not the majority of what people think. This is a subset of society that doesn't reflect on most everyone else. And when that's acknowledged and recognized by the people making TV, I think maybe we'll see a shift.
Well, and the brilliance of it as well is Cobra Kai has t-shirts you can buy. People are buying Cobra Kai gis. It's and that's where the money is, right?
Right.
The merchandising.
They're like merchandising, and it's the bad guys, the un-PC jerks who are selling the merchandise, right?
Yeah.
I think Lucasfilm woke up when Baby Yoda sold all the merchandise, right? That's when they woke up, and they're never. I don't believe for 1 second, despite all the political nonsense that we have to support the Miss Ariel and all this stuff for PR purposes. We have to let poor Gina Carano be attacked for PR purposes. Internally, their money is in Baby Yoda and Jon Favreau, and he's got all the power, but he's a wise person and he doesn't get involved in this drama. You know, I used to work for Disney and I was unwise. I wrote the Tron animated series, Tron Uprising. I was the head writer for that. And I was fired halfway through the show because I had the foolishness of telling executives at Disney that things weren't working properly and we needed to fix this and that. And boom, they're like, yeah, you don't question this. And I was out and they brought a yes man in and the show
went away. Yeah.
Show went away.
Well, that's corporate America right there anyway, right? I mean, that's kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody ever wants to hear bad news.
Yeah. Favreau is smarter than me. He will go, you're right. Everything you're doing is absolutely right. And then just do the
opposite. Yeah.
Me, I'm like, no, you have to fix the wrong thing. And I'm like,
there's a way to do it, and Jon Favreau has figured it out. I mean, I think he's
he's never fought Kathleen Kennedy. I'm sure he's never even had an argument with her in person. He understands just play along to get along, and then outsmart your adversary.
Yep, exactly.
Stuff, right? I wish I knew how to do that. I'm like,
it's a quality.
I think with Cobra Kai, Cameron, is that it set the blueprint for how to do diversity without smashing you over the head with it, right?
I mean, it's an incredibly diverse show. The lead kid is Ecuadorian. You have an African American girl, right? I mean, it's very diverse, and you never think about them except when the stupid like jerk, like the ultimate villain, Kreese is like, oh, get rid of that Mexican kid, right? He's the villain, so he can say stupid things like that.
Right. Of course. Yeah. We really loved it. We did an hour-long review of it. The four of us did, and it was just for me. I didn't want to watch it because I didn't.
I know, me neither. I avoided it for a long time.
But Jason and his brother Jude, who's on the show, kept telling us to, and I finally gave in. And I think I watched all 3 seasons in like 2 days.
I love my sister. We're very close. She's much more politically left than I am. But when she finally bothered to watch the show, she's absolutely in love with it. And now she is binging it with her children, right?
Yeah.
and you know, and it's allows me to be able to make fun of some of the woke stuff. She's a university professor. She's surrounded by woke people, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it allows me to make fun of some of the woke stuff in her world through the show. Like, oh, wasn't that scene fun? It allows us that connection.
Yeah.
I spent 10 years teaching in higher ed in my youth. And I saw it coming. I saw the participation trophy generation coming. And the whole, it's not fair and everybody's equal and everyone's special. And I'm like, oh no, this is the last stop to the real world. You're not doing these kids any favors here.
Life will teach you the truth. You can tell kids that there's no gravity, but watch them step out the window and see what happens.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, life
Exactly.
I am stealing that.
What do you think is going to happen?
Like, clip that and use that as a clip.
What do you think is going to happen at Disney when you think it's just going to be status quo with Filoni and Favreau just getting away with this?
You know, you always see the sort of clickbait videos of like Favreau has been overthrown by GK. You know, that's clickbait stuff.
Okay.
I mean, as far as I know, and I know people who are like I've said this once, I have a friend who is in Jon Favreau's inner circle. He's part of his sort of standard crew that goes on every project with him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so I mean, we're talking about inner, like Favreau is like, I need this guy to do this on every show, right? And every movie. And he told me before all this craziness happened last year, we had coffee in a coffee shop in like early last year, and he told me, hey, you know, Favreau hates The Last Jedi. I don't know if you know that. You know, he hates it. And he watched it and goes, what the hell is this crap, right? And he called, and according to him, that's what he said. He called Disney and said, guys, can I help you with this? I can fix this for you. This ain't going to be what the audience wants, right? So he inserted himself into this because he's a fan, and I believe him. And he's completely, his victory with Baby Yoda #1, with Ahsoka #2, with Boba Fett #3, and finally with Luke Skywalker, it is Muhammad Ali. You know, he just punched them. The Kathleen Kennedy cult is down. They're out. All they're left with is Disney said, okay, you know what? You can have these books and these comic books and these video games and shut up and stay over there. Right?
Okay.
And if you keep losing us money, eventually we're going to shut you down too, right? And that's what it is. Favreau is completely in control, and he did it wisely so that he can't be criticized. And he never once says anything political. He stays out of the Gina Carano stuff. He just stays all out of it because he's like, that's what the bad guys want.
Yep.
They want me to get involved in this so they can pull me down.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a smart man. He is.
Good news.
Yeah. Huge fan.
But there's a reason that Gina Carano has been so outspoken, right? You know, is because she obviously feels, I don't know if she ever was given official permission, she obviously feels free, aside from the fact she's an independent spirit by nature, right? And she's a fighter. She obviously felt comfortable from a professional level to be free about her politics on some level on Twitter. And now we see the recent reports coming out just a couple of days ago that, she apologized. I don't know that that's true. Right after those reports come out, she's putting out more political stuff on Twitter. These memes and these that are making clear that, you know, she's going to say whatever the hell she wants, right? So I don't think that that's true. I think that Favreau said, look, just don't be too obvious about it.
Yeah.
And you know, but don't be a jerk, which she's not a jerk naturally, and just go do your thing.
Yeah, because I'm sure he feels pressure to do something about it.
Yeah.
From the higher ups, you know.
Look, they should have fired her last summer, and they didn't.
Right.
So
she's too popular.
Yeah. She's making money. People are buying her toy.
Yeah.
No one is good. If they were to fire her, people would cancel Disney Plus. I would cancel Disney Plus. I only subscribed to Disney Plus when I heard that Luke was back in a respectful way. I refused to do it I didn't watch Mandalorian until a few weeks ago. I subscribed the day after I heard Luke was back.
Wow.
Wow.
And if they let her go, I will unsubscribe, and I'm not going to watch the Book of Boba Fett, and I'm not going to watch the Rangers or anything else. And I think that's going to be the case for a lot of people.
I don't think that's a concern. I mean, with Favreau there, it's not.
No, they're just going to let all these PR morons do their thing. They're going to have they're going to let these Lucasfilm comic book and writer people say dumb things, and they're going to have a PR person in Lucasfilm put out press releases supporting them, blah blah. And they're just going to let all these morons have their drama over here, right? Keep making money over on this side, right? And that's what they're going to do.
I think your cookies are done. Whoever's taking
that wasn't me this time.
Not high. Not high.
Yeah, it's interesting to me too. Like you have to see like Carl Weathers come out and back her, which I think is huge for the cause going forward. Carl carries a lot of.
He's an iconic figure.
I'm not familiar with what she's been saying, but I just
not much.
But exactly. I mean, because we've talked about it before, though, when we're looking at the other side, and we've pretty much all agreed that when you're saying controversial things, you're isolating half of your fan base, and that's not a smart thing to do when you're a person, whatever. So whichever side you're on, I think you need to be smart with what you're saying. If it's not a good idea to say things that are going to alienate half of your fan base, and I think
she puts out memes. She doesn't do a lot of direct Twitter. She puts out some really fun memes and stuff. Where she makes
I follow her on Instagram, but I don't follow her on.
Her memes are like, be free. Like she just put the meme she put out the day when the article came out claiming she had apologized and was promised to keep her mouth shut.
Yeah.
She put out a meme of a guy who sort of looked like the president, Biden, wearing a mask made out of money.
Okay.
And so it's just an image, and you can interpret it any way you want.
Right. Okay.
This industry is trying to shut people up, and I'm not with money, and I'm not participating in that.
Okay,
right?
so it's more perspective, and it's what people are just kind of like linking to it more than
projecting.
outwardly saying. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and I think some jerks went through her likes to try to see if she might have liked some right.
Oh my goodness! Like,
of course, yeah.
Through my likes, they're gonna find all kinds of wacky stuff, right? But that's the stuff. But she never says anything. She puts out. I mean, she's anti-lockdown. I'm anti-lockdown. She puts out memes against lockdown. The thing is, I went to check her Wikipedia page yesterday. Just felt like seeing it, and there's a whole section about controversies, and the Wikipedia page is all written by woke moms, controversies of how she was transphobe and all these things. And it was like, I mean, it was the most biased nonsense I had ever read, because none of it is actually what she is or what she did. But whatever. But she doesn't care. She doesn't care because she's making the money, and it's not her moral character to care about bad people.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, putting out a meme like the mask thing with the money could be interpreted as, the COVID situation caused the greatest wealth transfer in history. Human history. So there's several ways you can look at that.
Exactly. That's what she's an artist. She puts out a meme and you interpret. There was another image she put out of herself sitting there and holding literally like a hand mirror in front of her. And through the mirror, you don't see her face. You just see like a reflection. So the idea is you're just seeing what you want in, and there's no words. You interpret that image yourself.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's another problem with the Twitterati or whatever you want to call it, is they're looking for a fight. They're absolutely looking for somebody to go after, and it's the first thing that moves, they jump on it. So she says something even remotely, interpreted in a strange way, bam, they're on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I always think of that scene in the first Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman, where he goes to Vicky Vale's apartment and he's gonna tell her that he's Batman.
Right.
And he does the whole thing where he's like, how normal people wake up and go downstairs and make coffee and eat breakfast. And I think of that because the Twitter people wake up in the morning and look for people that did something wrong and want to destroy them and take their career and flush it down the toilet. And I just see Michael Keaton saying it that way.
And then when she walks through, he's like, Batman. Yeah. He couldn't say those words until she walked away.
That was awesome.
The genius of that movie is she figures that out for herself. He just tries to sit there. That's such a good movie.
Oh my god!
It still holds up. I love it. But it's the madness on Twitter just never ceases to amaze me. And I did see today that they're seriously thinking about charging people to tweet.
Then they're done.
I can't wait. I want it to happen.
Oh yeah, I want that to happen. Yep.
Oh, absolutely. The funny thing is, all these woke idiots have no money.
Exactly.
What we talk about.
Because they're there all day doing that. They're not working.
Anything. Yeah.
I mean, you see, this is actually goes to where the mistake Hollywood made. I watched it happening over the course of my 20 years, and almost a full generation that I've been there watching it happen. When I first arrived in the early 2000s, everyone is talking about you got to write for the youth crowd, the demographics, 18 to 45, because they have all the money, right? And that's what we were trained with. That's the market everybody wants, right? And then over the course of the last 10 years, the people that aged into that group were broke, living at home with their parents, with $3 million of student debt that they can't pay. And suddenly we're still writing for these people. And that was a part of the mistake of what happened on the Star Wars thing, is they thought they were writing for those people who are saying dumb things about woke this and race that and trans this and whatever. And but they don't have any money. They can't go to see a movie. They're not going to buy the toys. They don't have any money. It's people like us, Generation X, that have the money, right? And that's the economic fallacy that I've watched my industry fall into, because we were the prior generation to Generation X, whatever, the boomers had a lot of money. Generation X has some money suddenly, and so we were writing for the boomers, and the boomers had, we were writing for the millennials. I'm sorry, for the young, not millennials, the young Generation X.
Right,
and the millennials came in and they were broke, and then now Generation Z is coming and they're even more broke. And so it's like, you can't write for these people who can't buy your product.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that. Gene Simmons did an interview, I think yesterday, on Radio 104 out there in LA, and he said it's the young people have ruined the music industry because they don't pay for anything. They get on their Spotify
and they resent it. The idea of paying for something is an insult to them.
Absolutely. Well, I know several Zs and millennials that complain about concert ticket prices, and I'm like, you did that by not buying albums. And I guess Gene Simmons said that you get like 0.0003 cents per stream hit on a song, so you have to like have like 1 billion streams to make a couple $1,000,
which is exactly why the money goes to Taylor Swift and it doesn't go to the rest of the system, right?
Right.
The entire world we're living in is funneling money to a group of people. Thank you, Lorena. God bless.
Yeah, Lorena.
That's all they know. I mean, you really you can't,
No, of course they don't know anything else. These are kids that were raised in an environment you were taught.
It's there. It's available. That's what you do. You just stream.
Well, there's been a sense of entitlement, again, going back to my early higher ed career, and now when I get like interns or even kids right out of school, the idea that they think that we're going to hand them the keys to the edit suite because they did their 4 years at school and got a piece of paper that I'll wipe my ass with, right? They don't have the wherewithal to realize that they have to climb the ladder. They have to do,
they consider that to be oppression. That this is systematic discrimination.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And I've witnessed that amongst writers. I've mentored a lot of writers, and in the last few years, there has been this incredible entitlement among young writers that they're going to come out of college, and then they have to resentfully get like an assistant job for a year, and then they're going to become a showrunner. And regrettably, I've actually worked in circumstances where that happened, where somebody who was young and was connected to the right people was given that.
Wow.
And was an utter horrific disaster because they had no experience whatsoever.
Right.
Aside from being completely immature as a human being, they had no experience of how to do anything. And they were given, here's a $50 million budget and a 300-person crew. And you can imagine the disaster because, Hollywood they're cabals, and this person fit into one of the cabals. If the cabal said, I like this kid, we're going to give this kid a chance, right? And the kid made the cabal lose money, and then the kid was out.
Yeah, there's this you can be talented as anybody. I mean, we all felt that way paying our dues early on, like watching maybe I remember working on a commercial, watching the director stumble his way through it, and I'm like, geez, I could have directed 3 of these by now. But I had to paint the sets, and I ate my shit and I liked it. These kids don't seem to understand that. Like you said, Cameron, they see it as oppression. You're, keeping me down.
Well, there's a reason, going back to politics, there's a reason why suddenly I'm shocked to see everyone on Twitter is calling for communism. They're talking about how great Stalin was and how Pol Pot was a great leader. I'm seeing this kind of stuff. It's what? Because their lives suck so badly. To them, communism is better than what they got.
Right.
That's pretty pathetic, right? I mean, like being in like the world they're pushing us towards, which is we're all going to be in sort of this, Maoist state. To them is still a better life than what they have.
Because
it stems from that everybody gets a trophy. You don't have to try. You don't just show up, and everyone's the same. It really comes from that. I think so, at least.
It's looking for free stuff, more free handouts from the state. I mean, who cares if we have to do what they say and we're dependent on them? I want free stuff, right?
And
who doesn't? I want free stuff.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as
there's no such thing as free stuff, though. That's the thing.
There's a great Buddhist story about that, where a guy who's like a really bad guy, like sort of highway robber type criminal guy, and he ends up getting killed in a raid and dies, and he wakes up and he's this beautiful, beautiful garden, surrounded by beautiful women and everything, and everything he wants is given to him, and he's like, I led this really evil life, and basically I've been getting everything I got into heaven, right? That's great. And so, and a few hundred years of this goes by where everything he wishes for is given to him instantly, right? And he gets really bored, and he becomes eventually full of despair because he has nothing to fight for. He's just living, and finally he's wandering, and he meets some guy like the Buddha appears in the garden. He's like, hey, wait a minute, this heaven sucks. Why would you do that? And the Buddha looks at him and goes, oh, you thought you were in heaven this whole time?
There's a really great Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, there's a Twilight Zone episode. Exactly the same thing.
Exactly like
that archetypal myth.
It probably is. Yep.
Yeah.
But that's the idea, is that a world without struggle is a world not worth living in, which is sort of the message of Cobra Kai, right? It's life is painful and it's punching you in the face, and you either learn how to punch back or you're just gonna be pummeled to your gun.
Right. And the things worth having are the things worth working for. I mean, there's something to that too,
Yeah. Well, there's no such thing as a free lunch,
That's
pay for it in one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever I'm offered, and in Hollywood, there's always a too good to be true. And they're always like, yeah, okay, I'm walking away from this right now because I know whatever the string is going to be offering.
Well, I
have a lot of friends, who do the 9-to-5 thing, and they can't understand why I prefer to work for myself and not know where the next job or the next paycheck is coming from. And I've been doing it for almost 20 years now. And to me, that's what makes life worth living. I love that uncertainty. I mean, I have panicky times. I'm like, oh God, I'm not booked for a week. But then
all of them were taught a lesson. Last year showed them everyone that was there's no security, right? Even the 9-to-5ers had their illusion taken away last year.
Yeah, no, it's true. So just to shift gears just a little bit, because I know this is another one of your favorite topics, failing upward.
That's most of my industry. I mean, that's most of the industry. I mean, it's because to put it in a conspiratorial term, because again, Hollywood is a conspiracy. There are cabals here. There are various groups of people that create a club for themselves that they have done over multiple generations. Those clubs are sometimes they're ethnic, sometimes they're about sexual orientation, about this and that. But they're various like, I want people like myself in this club, and I'm going to give opportunities to people like myself, regardless of their talent. The person that I worked with that ended up being fired because they brought such disaster to the club was only given that opportunity because they were mentored by somebody in the club, right? Literally was in a specific group within television that's very powerful, and this person was like had all the right mentors in that group, and they brought her in, and she caused them such disaster that she was let go. But that's again, they well deserved, I think. But this industry is full of people that have been rising up because they know the right people and they might even have some talent. I mean, if you look at J.J. Abrams, he was born into a rich family. He's born to a very successful producer's family. His dad was a very successful TV producer, already Hollywood royalty, right? He was born to that, but he had talent. If you watch his first movie that he made when he was 19 regarding Henry with Harrison Ford, it's a good movie. It's a good movie, right? So he has talent, and it was a unique movie. It was an authentic and interesting movie. And then after that, the gentleman kind of coasted. Everything after that was a mimicry of something else. If you watch Alias, that's literally Run. I mean, the pilot is Run Lola Run. He just took. I mean, and he took like even the hair from. Run
Yeah,
Lola
you're
Run.
right. Yeah, I never connected that. That's crazy.
And he made a career out of mimicking and becoming massively successful with mimicry. And there's no reason for that, dude. You actually are talented.
Right.
But after 20 years of it, you get secure in that the world is going to take this from you until Star Wars shook him up a little bit. The mimicry didn't work anymore.
I call him Dollar Tree Spielberg. But his buddy
he's got his own club surrounded by people that are, let's say, he's a talented guy surrounded by people that are his friends who aren't talentless hacks, right? Who have become very powerful people in Hollywood, and slowly people are realizing, man, you actually have. I mean, at least JJ's got something. You got nothing.
I haven't watched the Clarice show, but everything I read and hear about it's DOA. It's more just garbage from Alex Kurtzman's treasure chest of garbage. He's ruined all these Star Trek shows. He's ruined Star Trek. Star Trek's my favorite franchise, and it's unrecognizable. It's been pulverized.
I enjoyed the first Star Trek movie. I was startled that they made an alternative timeline, but I was like, let's see what they do with that. The second one was just a shock to me.
Ooh.
Opening scene, is underwater. I'm like, what is this crap? And then Han shows up again. At least they got Ricardo Montalban to play the Indian Sikh dude, right? Now they got some British dude to play the Indian Sikh dude.
That's bad.
and even the lines are ripped off from the movie that had, from that. So, but that whole, that it's interesting. No one ever talks about Mr. Orsi, who was Mr. Kurtzman's partner until they parted ways. And I don't know Mr. Orsi at all. I have several friends who are very close to him and who said, he was politically more in tune with where we are. He was not in the woke thing. He saw the reality of things and he didn't want to be part of that. And secondly, he just didn't want to play the games of giving the system what it thought it wanted. Right? He wanted to create stuff. And so Mr. Kurtzman's like, no, that's what the money is. We just give them what they want. And that, the entire crowd around J.J. Abrams is just give the market, just give these executives, not the market, give the executives what they think they want, and they'll keep giving you more work. And he's right. And that's why they parted ways. And Orsi you don't hear about anymore, right?
No.
He was actually a creative genius in that team, as far as I can tell. And he had the wisdom to see where the industry was going. And he said, I'm not going to go down this road, that Kurtzman wants to go down. Kurtzman's like, all right, see you later. And he went down that road and became very successful and became incredibly hated.
Is he borderline blacklisted at this point, you think?
I've heard a little bit that, his politics are a little bit more on the right, and that can blacklist you.
Oh, okay.
You don't hear about him much anymore. I'm sure he's working. But my friends who know him say he's a very good guy and a very creative guy. He's just an independent thinker, like the people on this cast, people like Chrono, like people like I'd like to think myself are. And that's the industry is not interested in that, especially when your partner is willing to play along with it. And the problem is now everyone is realizing that Mr. Kurtzman is leading all of this to an economically unsuccessful end.
It's a disaster.
They don't know what to do, because one of the things you figure out is the industry is like the executives, especially. The industry is basically a rider sitting on a horse backwards. So the horse is moving this way, and the rider is facing the wrong direction. So the rider keeps saying, I want that. I want to go there. I want to go there. What's just passed you by? I want to go there, right? The horse is going the other way. And the industry is all these people that are seeing what just went by that's already done and say, I want to go there, right? And so they don't see where the horse is going.
Right.
And so somebody like Orsi, who sees where the horse is going, is the prophet that nobody wants, and they got rid of him. Hopefully, as I think the next year or so, a lot of the old sort of plastic Buddhas of this town are going to shatter, and I think people are going to go back to want storytellers who are looking forward.
Yeah, I mean, you just described having vision, and to me, in the last 10 years or so, 12 years, the only one that seemed to display any kind of vision was Kevin Feige. And Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau actually started the whole thing, and then when Disney got it, they brought in Feige and whatnot. But clearly the Star Wars sequels didn't have a plan. They were making it up as they were going along.
It was a standard Hollywood thing. It's around people that just want to give the executives what they want. Your job is to tell the executives, again, Favreau does it smart. It's like, you're right, and then do whatever you want to do, right? That's your job, right? And the worst thing is to say, oh yeah, whatever you want, boss. Yeah. Which is what happened, when I said you're wrong and I was pushed out of Tron Uprising, they brought in, and it was actually the people behind it were all part of the Mr. Abrams, group, and they brought in somebody in there, and he's like, yeah, boss, whatever you want. And he gave them whatever they wanted. And it didn't work. People, hey, the first half of the show was really good. What happened? episode 5 was great, and then episode 6 was like, it's a totally different show. I was like, yeah, I don't write that one. He gave them what they wanted. And they're like, oh, this show, nobody's watching the show anymore. I guess we're gonna have to cancel it.
Right.
Well, let's face it, the guys signing the checks and making the decisions aren't the most creatively flushed people in the world. They're suits and ties, and
they were in the clubs, the various clubs that got them in there.
Yeah, like George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it.
Well, all the executives that fired me at Disney are still there.
Wow.
I mean, they're all still there in different, I'm sure some of them, it was Disney XD, which I don't think even exists anymore. And so I'm sure they're in different parts of the company now. When I was there, I would walk by their office and I wouldn't hear any creative discussion. I would walk by the office and they'd be like, they would talk to the assistant, can you make sure I have the special, front seats at the Lakers game? And I mean, that's literally all the only conversations I ever heard. Actually, I have to share with you the very first thing that happened to me at Disney when I came to Tron. So I was hired. I put together my writers team the first day we arrived, and we came in, we pitched everybody how we're going to do the show and all this stuff and the character. And so I was very excited. And at the end of the day, one of the executives said, "Hey, let's talk. Let's do an end of first day review, right?" So I go in, and she closed the door and says, "So you come across as a very honest, trustworthy, straightforward person. That's not going to help you here." Literally, she said that to me. First,
crazy.
Already, she said, "I believe you actually are this person." Already, people are saying, "What's this guy's angle?"
Yeah,
this nice guy thing. He's he's going to be. Their fear is your nice guy, straightforward thing is an act. And you're going to stab them in the back. Everyone in industry knows. Everyone in Disney knows the people are trying to stab you in the back, and they're all very obvious about it. You're like, you seem likable. That's really dangerous. And she said, day one, she said to me, "You gotta tone down the likability because now people are really nervous around you. What your end game is." I'm like, "What is it? You're trying to make a show and earn money and go home."
Right.
Wow. Game.
It's insane. It's maddening.
People don't know what to do with that. Like really, I have the same. I'm pretty forward, and I'm very honest, and people don't know how to handle that. They really don't. So if you're in like such a Shark Tank, world, I'm sure it's way worse. I can only imagine.
The army, look, I mean, I didn't enjoy getting fired. It was the first, actually wasn't the first time I was fired. I've been this loudmouth that I have had gotten me into other situations before, but it was one where I didn't see it coming. Where I was like, literally, I was producing scripts that were incredible that I thought, and the audience eventually, when they were filmed, thought they were incredible. And I was very like, when they called me in for the meeting, I thought it was about to discuss the second half of the season. Wow. It was like, "All right, time for you to pack up your box." I was like, "What?" I wasn't prepared for that because I was like, "But we're doing great." It's like, "Yeah, but you made the mistake of telling us that this person is causing difficulties in the production line. This person."
And they said that to you. They said that was the reason.
Well,
I'm pretty much.
It's not really working out. I was like, "What do you mean it's not working out?"
Really? Oh my god.
And so, and then being who I am, I said, "Okay, let's just be honest here. If you're gonna let me go, I'm just going to speak honestly here." I said, "You're letting me go because yesterday I told you that X, Y, and Z people needed to be removed from the process because they weren't providing notes on time. They were delaying the production, and so." You had to tell them either, I literally said to the executives the day before, you have to tell these two people either provide the notes on time so that we're not massively behind schedule, which is costing a lot of money. Because my scripts are on time, your notes are not on time, so the production schedule's off, right? Or ask them to get out of the way. These people were very politically powerful, and no one was willing to have that talk with them. They were willing to lose money on the production than to not have that talk with them because that way all those people are still like they're all there still in Disney. They all hate each other and they're all working there, and they all know this person XYZ is incompetent, but they're never going to challenge them because they got to keep getting the front row at the Lakers, which they get if they're a high-level executive at Disney. If they're a fired nobody, they don't have that. So when I said this is the problem, you're asking me why we're off schedule. People are not doing the job, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, well, you're done." Literally, and I said, "That's the reason you're letting me go." They're like, "Well, yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's that." I'm like, "Yeah, I would say that." And I'm this straightforward. And I was like, "You're gonna let me go? I'm just gonna be honest with you about what you're doing here." And I said to them, "What's gonna happen is you're gonna bring a yes man in. The production is going to continue to fall off schedule because the yes man is just going to not raise any hackles about it. And then you're going to look at the end of aside from the fact the quality is going to go down because they're not going to write like me. Okay, but they're not going to. They're not going to stop this train of financial ruin that you're on because you won't handle the internal politics. So every season, when you look at your financials, you will have lost money on a show that should have been profitable, and then you will not renew it. That's exactly what happens.
That's crazy.
Well, they better straighten that out soon because they've lost a ton of money this year, especially with the parks being closed.
Well, exactly. That's why is because everything that happened, Disney doesn't have time for garbage now. Right. Disney. That's why they will let Gina Carano post what she's got to post. They will let Jon Favreau do his thing because he's the only thing keeping them afloat.
Yeah. And selling toys and T-shirts and games.
Disney could go bankrupt if it wasn't for Jon Favreau. They could be in Chapter 11 and be sold to some Chinese company.
Right.
But they paid $4+ billion for the Star Wars and Indiana Jones for the Lucasfilm franchises. Yeah. And they barely made that much money on those sequel movies.
And that's a loss of money because I have an MBA and in my you can't compare it to the number. What is it? all you compare to is I take $4 billion and I put it in this account, which earns 5% interest, right? Or I could put $4 billion on this acquisition, which needs to earn me more than that 5% interest. So within 10 years, that $4 billion in that account would be $8 billion or $10 billion. So within 10 years, Star Wars has to have brought in $10 billion or I have made a strategically financially wrong decision. And which is exactly what has happened. They're still in loss. They're still in loss. 8 years into this, they're in loss. 9 years into this.
Yeah, and they haven't even used the Indiana Jones property. You're right. I mean, if it wasn't for the Mandalorian, they would be in really dire straits.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's pulling them any way out of this hole.
So then, you look at like the shows on the CW, like Batwoman.
Yes, I worked on this times. I know it very well. There's a reason nobody hired me back up to come on Batwoman. My big mouth.
Too honest.
I worked on Nikita, on Rain, and mostly Roswell, New Mexico. I worked one season in Roswell, New Mexico as the number 2 on the show. I wasn't back the second season. And then the showrunner was let go. And lots of drama there. And I'm delighted that I was not back the second season.
Well, it's clear the channel's made for the tweens and the young college age kids and whatnot. I mean, it's
they
definitely
don't know their audience. The channel's made for you. The channel's made for everybody on this thing here, because you're the ones that would watch Batwoman. You're the ones that would watch all these superhero shows. It's made for you, and they don't understand that the people I think they're making for are not appreciating what they're doing, and it's just they don't understand their market.
Right.
Yeah, the first couple seasons of Arrow and The Flash were solid.
Yeah,
and then it took a huge, for lack of a better term, a huge left turn. I reviewed Batwoman season 1, and part of what I was thinking is the check boxes in the alphabet community representation in those shows. Yep. So I did a quick search, and I came up with they have 66 of those characters in these shows. 66.
There's a personal thing there. Mr. Greg Berlanti, who is a very, very successful producer and a smart guy, right?
Yep.
I met him a couple of times. He's a very decent guy, at least was decent to be. He's a member of the alphabet community, very proudly so, very out, and he's dedicated his personal life to presenting that community's stories, right? He's a director now. He's making directing movies about that. It is definitely a particular creative choice. As he became more and more successful, he felt more confident making his shows about that. He started off on stuff like Everwood. They're not about that. But then he solidified his power and he said, I'm in a position to talk about things that I care about.
It's too much self-insertion. And you have, when they first started out, he had a co-showrunner. Was it Alex Kreisberg or Andrew Kreisberg?
Yes, who is
he got Me Too'd right
out. This figure, yes, and yes.
And the minute he got Me Too'd is when everything suddenly.
The minute that he was outed, he was a well-known Me Too perpetrator for years. We all heard about him. And the entire system protected him because he was making them so much money. Everyone that complained about him was fired. Was another show. We knew about this guy. He was like Harvey Weinstein. We all knew about that, right? Except the difference is Weinstein, the general public knew about it, whereas this gentleman, we all knew about it, and no one attempted to hold him responsible. And in fact, they went out of their way to cover it up, the entire system, because he's making money, and that's still going on, by the way. That hasn't changed.
Oh no, I was just gonna say you're segueing perfect into
very much active today.
Ugh.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I mean, to me, it looks like
it's never changed.
To me, Weinstein was the sacrificial lamb. Like they put him out on the public display. Stone the one villain here, but the rest of them.
I have a little bit of insight into that. Which before I go in that said, I said, Jason, I talk so much, I have not let you speak. So would you like to jump into this conversation? Forgive me. I just keep talking.
That's okay. Can everybody hear me right now?
We can. Your internet is definitely spotty.
Yeah, your signal's a little sad.
That's okay. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Jason, please.
Yeah, it still is pretty choppy.
I bet if you shut your camera off, you'll get.
I'm sorry about that. Apologies.
That's all good. So
apologies for the signal.
I want to share with you why I have a little bit of insight, and I don't know Weinstein personally, but I worked on a show that was a Weinstein Company production when all of this went down. So I got some insight as to what happened. I was working on a show with Oliver Stone, the great director. I mean, I was incredibly excited to be working with Oliver Stone, one of my heroes as a filmmaker. And we were doing a show for Showtime Networks about Guantanamo Bay, about sort of the there's still people in Guantanamo Bay that have been there for 20 years, right? Not
right.
We all, the moment Obama was elected, everyone forgot about Guantanamo, and he didn't let any of those guys go. They're all still there, right? There's people that came at 18 and they're like 40 years old now, still in Guantanamo, right, with no trial. So, but there are some trials, and this was a show dramatizing some of the terror trials in Guantanamo. And so we developed it. We written the scripts. We were about to go into production, and the show had been greenlit as a Weinstein Company production. So Oliver Stone had come in with Weinstein Company, and they were going to make the show, right? And so we had executives from Weinstein Company giving us notes, but Harvey wasn't our day-to-day guy in any way, shape, or form. But suddenly, it was a fall. I guess it must have been 2017 or whatever. Whenever that happened, probably 2016. The fall. One day I suddenly see alert on the trades deadline or whatever that some people had come out and were publicly, saying Harvey Weinstein. I think Rose McGowan and others said Harvey Weinstein raped me and all these things. I was like, okay, we've all known that.
Oh, wow.
So why is this now suddenly in the trades? Because the trades' purpose is to protect people in the industry. It's not to the expose of what we all know is true, right? So I suddenly started saying to my coworkers, I think something's happening here, right? And the story started snowballing, and suddenly the Me Too movement came out of that. People started saying Harvey did this to me too. That's how it began, right?
Right.
And so we're like, what's going to happen to our show? Because we're associated with him.
Yeah.
The end result was the show. Showtime never put the show in production, right? And they pulled it. And so this wonderful show with Oliver Stone never got made, right? But while I was there, so I started calling friends of mine who worked at the Weinstein Company. I was like, can you tell me what's happening? What's going on here? And this is what they told me. And this is what they told me. I cannot confirm it because I wasn't in the room when these things happened, but this is what they told me. They said, look, this situation was a political move that got out of control. Harvey and his brother Bob hated each other. Lots of bad blood between them over the years. And Bob wanted to take control of Weinstein Company and push his other brother out, right? And so basically they said people in Bob's camp decided to do a PR blitz to label Harvey with what we already knew, and put it out to the general public in order to embarrass him and force him out of the company. That was the goal, right? The goals became out of control. It started snowballing. It started getting bigger and bigger. Suddenly other people that they had no intention of unmasking started getting unmasked as everyone started talking. Then the industry started panicking because the entire industry is like this. All of these people have Me Too in their closets, especially the ones that talk the most about women's rights. They're the worst of it, right? As we saw, with a certain famous director who was a very big male feminist and then was revealed to have been sleeping with all of his actresses over the years. So I watched that happen. I mean, literally, when that happened, I called an assistant who was working the show. I said, get your resume out. We're done. And we were done, right? Harvey had nothing to do with our show except for having his name in it, and we were done. But that's the darker reality of it. I said the industry is now going to let this play out for a bit. They're going to have a few sacrificial lambs, people that have fallen out of favor, that are not making them money. When Harvey was making them a lot of money, the industry covered it, like Mr. Kreisberg. The whole industry covered it, right? Everyone went out of the way. Particularly human resources' job was to make sure no one ever, if you come and complain about these people, they would then get private investigators on you and make sure, say, you really don't want to be accusing, this person of that, because we found this out about you, right? Maybe it's time for you to resign, right? And then you would go, right? Because now they're blackmailing you. That's how the system worked. And so this thing got out of control. I said, this is what's going to happen. 2016 is going to be the year of Me Too. 2017 is going to be the year of the Me Too backlash, where the industry now is going to discredit the very people it's promoting, right? People like Amber Heard and whatever, who are out there saying these things. And then 2018 is going to be, the industry is going to go right back to the way it was, which is everyone's going to go back to the casting couch and abuse of people and horrific things. And it's not just women. I mean, I know male actors that have been propositioned by casting directors, male and female casting directors. I know some who've given into those propositions and and forced into sexual situations they would not normally be in. It's still continuing. And the horrific thing is the people that are the most loud and woke right now are the ones doing it. And that's always been the case.
Yeah. We won't even get into the minors situation.
Yeah, that's.
How do you stop that from happening? Like if you can't out them, and then how does it ever end?
Well, they need to change some of this stuff, especially with the minors, is beginning to come out. That ice wall is breaking. There's, if you follow Open Secret, which is Open Secret has a Twitter feed. This was a documentary done by a very successful, respected documentary filmmaker in Hollywood who had won awards for other documentaries she did, and then she made this documentary, Open Secret, which is about the abuse of children in the industry. and people name names in there. The kids who are now adults, this person did this to me. The way the industry handled that was they just ignored it. It couldn't get distribution anywhere. They pretended it wasn't out there. That's how the media does it. It's like, if we don't let anyone know this exists, they won't look at it. If we argue about it, if we sue for defamation, if they do anything else, it will bring attention to it. And so literally, most people don't know that you can go watch that on YouTube. There's a documentary that will name names, people saying this person did this to me. And no one knows about it because the industry's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I wonder if they also are behind the whole like extreme conspiracy theories of people, like celebrities eating babies into that like ridiculous.
Well,
I'm wondering, seriously, if the people trying to cover this up do that to discredit actual real information.
Well, that's
I mean, I don't know, right?
That's old CIA stuff. Is that, the CIA developed the terms conspiracy theory when people started asking questions about the JFK assassination. And they said, there's a memo, that's a declassified memo, came out in 1963, where they said, or 64, where they said, we have to start using this term in the media to start making people sound crazy because they're asking too many questions about Kennedy. That's a declassified memo. So this term was invented by the CIA. The idea is make people look crazy so that you don't look where you need.
Well, there are some crazy, really.
There are crazy, and I mean, I don't think on this broadcast I'll reveal everything, but I certainly know that some of the crazier stories about the occult and other things that sound like wacky things that no one could be true, I know they are true because those people have crossed my path, and I'm like, okay, so this is actually real, and if I talk too much about it, my car is going to have an accident, right? And so so we'll just leave it at that. So, but
yeah, I've actually seen a lot of stuff on YouTube about the occult. I was going to ask you about that part. But
it's real.
I know it. Yeah, I believe it's real. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's old school. So you go back to watch old Disney, Pinocchio, and stuff like that. There's a cult symbolism, and it's there. I mean, it's become more and more egregious in years that have passed.
Jeez. So, Jason, did you have a question, Jason?
Please.
Are you still there? Did we lose him again?
Poor Jason.
Poor Jason. His internet's failing him miserably.
Wow, so that conversation took an interesting turn, but getting back to where we are, I mean, so yeah, it's an interesting place that we're in. This is my belief. I believe 2021 is the year of the great unveiling. I think that a lot of truths are going to come out this year. That it's just, I think the dam is about to burst, and a lot of people that have been creating a public image in Hollywood will simply be outed. I just think, I've heard this, and I will not reveal the name of the directors, so you won't get your channel pulled or whatever, but a very, very famous director has been involved in this abuse of children for quite some time, and the entire industry has protected this person, actors, and I know that there's a documentary coming out right now to expose that director, and it will be earth-shattering if ever got made, because it's somebody who you all know very well and has a very positive image. But I've been hearing for years about this gentleman's private life, and so I've heard recently there's actually documentary people they're interviewing, and some actors are now willing to say, yeah, he molested me when I was 8 on this show. And,
wow! Oh my God!
So I don't know if that's ever going to be released. I do believe it will be. I think 2021 is going to be the year of shocking revelations of this industry in particular.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it could use a good shakeup, right?
It needs it. I mean, and that's what I've been waiting for. I'm like 20 years.
Well, yeah, I think if that's a real thing, then that needs to be brought to light.
Yeah, sure. This criminal stuff is real. You don't have to go to like Illuminati having blood sacrifices, even though not all of that is totally crazy. But
right.
Criminal stuff that sounds believable is more than real. So yeah.
Yeah, my ex asked me if people say we should put our daughter in commercials, and I said, don't you dare.
No.
I don't want her anywhere near there. If you want to do local car commercials, that's fine, cable ads, but do not bring her anywhere near the system.
The worst are the stage parents that I've seen. Whenever I've met, because I've worked on shows, there's kids on the shows, the parents are there. Whenever I met the parents, stage parents, they're always creepy weirdos. Like people that are seeking fame through their child, right? And they're the ones who'll be like, "Yeah, you can spend some time with that director in the room," and they're in that position because they want. I mean, I'm like, whenever I meet people, I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want to be around you." There's some really ugly of like the parents are screwed up. The poor kids, you can tell, are just victims. Like, I don't want to be around this parent.
Well, look how many horror stories of child actors like Drew Barrymore, Mackenzie Phillips,
Corey Feldman.
what's on and on, right?
Yeah.
Corey Haim, all of them. Yeah. It's, like I said, there's a lot more. But again, let's get to some happy, positive things about how Hollywood sucks, but not on this level.
I know. This is dark.
What do you want to go into? I know your time is limited. We're about, you said you have about 90 minutes and we're close.
Sure. We're getting close on that,
Yeah. So whatever you want to say to go out, and before you leave too, we want to promote your website and what you're doing.
Do you have something that you're working on now, or that you
I got a couple of projects. I'm about to go out with a pitch. Hopefully to Netflix, these others, sort of an epic series set, a few hundred years ago. I do a lot of historical epics. I've worked on all these science.
Nice.
Yeah, you wrote the 2 books that were historical epics.
Yeah. I'm going to show them in a second when I sort of like, what do you want to buy for me? Buy this. But yeah, I've developed a couple of projects. One is set in the Ottoman Empire, so that'll be very exciting.
Oh wow.
16th century Ottoman Empire. Sort of the epic stories of the lives in the palace and the harem of the Sultan and all of that. That'll be interesting. Another one I'm developing is set during the Mughal Empire, the guys who built the Taj Mahal, right? And it's really looking at the women behind the Mughal princes who built the Taj, right? And so both of those series, one of them has a director attached. And we're just trying to figure out some legalities around it before we can take it out. And the other one, we're just finishing the pitch. So hopefully those will go out this year. And, I'm at the stage where I've made enough adversaries. I don't know if I'm ever going to staff again, like just be another writer on somebody else's show, especially after 1 year of being this open on YouTube, right? I'm like, oh, I got no choice. It's a great round show now. I got no choice because I'm either in this game or I'm not in this game. And so I got to stay in the game. So that's what I'm doing. And, so mentioning, I'm, like I said, I'm a published novelist as well. If anyone wants to look into my background, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm very open about my religious beliefs, my political beliefs. I like to post pictures of beautiful women. So some people are offended by that, like, that's a picture of a beautiful woman. I feel that's inappropriate. I'm like, okay. Literally, I got a text like, I feel that's okay. Then don't follow me, whatever. So if you got an issue with that, I like the lovely lady. So follow that. But also, you can go to my website, which is my name, CamranPasha.com. Right there, perfect timing, right? And there's links on there to my novels. One you can see right there. Shadow the Swords. That's one of my 2 novels. I published a couple of novels so far through Simon & Schuster. That's one of them. So this is right here, Shadow the Swords. That's an epic on the Crusades. During the Third Crusade with Richard the Lionheart versus the Muslim King Saladin. And then I have this other novel, that first novel, Mother the Believers, which is another historical epic about the birth of Islam from the point of view of Muhammad's wife, Aisha, right? Who's a very controversial figure. And I tell the story from her point of view. And both of those books have done very well. And amazingly, people have actually bought my books after watching these YouTube channels. And people are like, hey, this book's actually
fantastic.
Yeah. So while you guys get all the monetization, I get some people buy my books.
Well, not us. We're quite a way.
We're still too small, but
you'll get there. You guys, really interesting discussion here. So you're gonna get there with ease.
But it's funny. I back to the very beginning of our conversation when I shut off the cable and and I started watching nothing but YouTube, and you get you get the unhomogenized truth. You start to really see things for what they are. I mean, just unfiltered, corporate controlled media. And part of that was finding, I would always watch Doomcock and Nerdrotic, but I started finding all these other spin-off channels from it. And
they keep trying to shut these things down. But this is not. I mean, the internet resists any kind of censorship.
Oh God, yeah.
You kick people off, and it's whack-a-mole. They'll just come back up here, right? That's what the system, which has controlled information for 100 years, is unable to grasp. Is that you can't actually censor anything, and whatever you try to censor becomes bigger and more widespread. And my belief is, whenever the industry says, or the news media tells me something isn't true, I'm like, yeah, that's true. Whatever they the official fact check, I'm like, okay, obviously you're lying, so I'm going to go look more into whatever you're telling me is not true. And inevitably I do my own research and find out, yeah, that's actually true, and they're lying to me.
Exactly. And the alt tech movement's already taking off. You have Minds and Odyssey is a site a lot of the YouTubers are starting to move over to, and it's like, go ahead and try. Like you said, go ahead and try. We'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah, and this is the next stage of the human condition, which is a good evolution for us, which is waking people up. It's a process. I think people get upset that a lot of people are still sort of asleep as to how the world really works, but it's a process. I think over the next 4 to 5 years, a huge portion of humanity is going to wake up to the realities of things, and that's going to force a restructuring of how we live with each other.
Yeah. Oh, I hope you're right. What's the Chinese fortune cookie say? May you live in interesting times.
Well, they certainly granted us that. they asked that of us, and they gave it to us. I worked in China. I worked in Beijing, and I love the Chinese people. I despise the CCP. I've seen it directly. I worked to develop a spy show there after Kita, and every one of our scripts had to be screened by communist right before they could go anywhere. And I despise the CCP, and it horrifies me to watch America and Europe turning into the society that I saw in China, where these people were trapped. I mean, literally, Taiwan is what could have been for China. The wrong guys won the Civil War, and now the whole world is living like that. So it makes me very sad.
Yeah, but Disney will go shoot a movie right next to it, and that's okay.
Right? They'll use concentration camp workers. That's what they'll do. So,
yeah.
See, that's another thing I'm going to say to people. Disney, this guy was just shut up. We're about to hire him for that show. Here we go. Whatever. I know you guys don't want to hire me or whatever. I don't care.
Sorry to do that, man. Is there anything else? I know you have to go, Cameron. I don't want to hold you up.
I just want to thank you all. Is there any final thing I can comment for anybody here? Any question? Because I don't know when I'll be back on this channel again, but I'd love to be. Is there anything that's that I said, or that you're like, I just want you to clarify that, or I'd love to know more about that.
How did Mayhem come about?
Oh, my short film. So if anyone goes, I have a YouTube page, which is my name, Kamran Pasha 72. So if you go to YouTube, you'll find that. And it doesn't have a lot on there. It's got a couple of my short films that I did. I just use it for put up my creative work. And so Miriam is a short film I did. It's a 20-minute short film that actually won a few awards. It's the first movie I had ever directed. And it's sort of Rosemary's Baby set amongst the Hasidic Jews, right? And so
interesting.
It's very interesting. So it's in a in the Hasidic community. I grew up in a Hasidic community in Brooklyn, and sort of I became fascinated by it.
Yeah, it was amazing how you wrote so much into a full story into 20 minutes when some people go on and on for like 2 hours and still don't tell a story.
Well, I'm glad
short films are an art.
That's my first directing gig. I think, there's always things I would have done differently with the resources that I had, but I think it ended up being a pretty good little film.
Yep, it was.
Check it out.
It is.
It is. And so if you guys check it out, it's fun. It's a sort of supernatural thriller in an Orthodox Jewish community, which I don't think we've ever seen before. But yeah, so I'm just trying to do my stuff, my own things. And I think everyone on this channel is someone who like Apple thinks differently than what Apple used to be, right?
Right.
And I just keep on that path, because we're going to be the people that save this planet. It ain't going to be these kids who can't figure out what their gender is, right? It's going to be the rest of us who are trying to make sense of this world and fix it.
Well, Generation X was the most entrepreneurial generation.
Yeah,
so far.
That's the joke of it. Generation X is basically the Breakfast Club. We're all a bunch of losers who didn't want to be the saviors of mankind, and we're going to be the saviors of mankind.
And
that's sort of what Cobra Kai is about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Jason, do you have anything before Cameron goes? Are you fixed?
No, that was really really illuminating, and I really appreciate you telling us your stories. Very entertaining.
Well, I hope next time I come, I'll get to see you more, Jason, and I will try to talk less, and I'll let you more. I apologize.
Yeah, you kept it interesting.
Oh, no.
It's fine.
No, you kept it very, very, very interesting. No problem.
So, well, invite me back, guys. I hope your channel continues to expand. I hope this interview gets you some attention.
I hope so.
And again, never be like you said. You sent me a DM. Don't be afraid to ask people. That's how you expand. You're entrepreneurs. We're all, the great thing about Twitter and YouTube, we're all just equal on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you found a way, you could get to you have Matthew McConaughey at the beginning. You could get him on this show. You just have to ask, and there's ways to do it. And so keep expanding. I think you've got a great channel here with great people. So just let more people know about it.
We really appreciate it, Cameron. It's very kind, and thank you. We built up our self-esteem very early.
I know, it's good stuff.
You're my only friends left. The industry don't care about me, so these are my YouTube friends.
That's right. And I feel like this is, I got to say, the people we have interacted with in the 3 or 4 months we've been doing this have been just sensational, and we're excited to be part of the whole thing.
It's all good. All right, guys, I have to head out. So God bless to all of you, and hopefully I'll be back on again in the near future.
Thank you for your time.
You want.
Good luck with everything.
We have carte blanche.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that awesome.
I'm flabbergasted.
Got a lot in there.
For people watching, we're not done. We still got to go through the Maniac headlines, which we have about half of the ones we normally do, because I knew Cameron was going to eat up the first half of the show.
I don't know. There's quite a few.
I don't know.
There are a couple I'm excited about. But.
That's about half of what we normally have because I can actually see the names on the tabs. Usually I can't.
It's just a sliver. Slivers.
Little slivers and whatnot. Yeah. So actually I can close out the ace. So yeah. Lots to think, lots to digest, and this will definitely have some replay life. Because I'm gonna have to watch it again just to
digest it all.
There's so much, yeah.
I've been watching Cameron stream after stream after stream, and when he agreed to do this, I was shocked. But then I saw him do a stream one night with like 5 people on it, and it was like, wow, he's just a good guy who likes to just shoot the shit with common-minded people.
He's got something to say,
and he's got something to say. So. Let's see, Jason. Can you turn your camera on? Can we actually see you, brother?
Let's try it again.
Didn't sound confident.
I don't know what's going on. What's going on.
You know what it might be?
Apache.
How old is your cable modem? Because I started having problems like that, and they pushed an update through and they said, "Oh, your modem can't handle this now. You have to go get a DOCSIS 3.2 or something, whatever it was."
Yeah,
it might.
I had the same problem too a few weeks back.
Oh, that's right. Pete problem. Yeah.
I was having a problem with that where basically it was just cutting out every 5 minutes, and so I just said, "Oh, the hell with it," and got a new cable modem, and whenever I'm here, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I was trying to patch directly into the modem when you were speaking. That's why I was making all that noise. I apologize.
That's okay. I muted you, and that's why I sent you the message. I'm like, I'm hearing all kinds of noise.
Yeah, I was trying to find a USB cable to patch right directly into it. I just can't find one for the life of me. So.
You're actually moving in real time, and that's a good sign. So.
Yeah, that looks much better.
Yeah. So, hail Kamran Pasha. That was awesome. Thank you.
Yes,
that was great. That was great.
What's the word you used? Illuminating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts.
So let's get right on the nuts. So I forgot that we do that. Stacy's idea was to find the real weirdo story of the week. And I saw this one and I forgot that I think did we designate this one, Stacy, as the weirdo?
No.
You did, because I found another one that's just as weird.
It was the one about the guy shoveling the driveway. I saw that yesterday. I'm like, by the way, I don't know if that's really that weired. This one's way weirder.
Yeah, that one's just not nice. And I tweeted a reply to the journalist.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Oh, there's nothing like." I said, "There's nothing more unifying than neighbors helping neighbors than getting a hit piece written in the LA Times." So
I have a little bit of a different perspective, but it's okay.
Yeah, even if she was trying to be funny, it's
no. I mean, I think I got something from it, but
so this one made me laugh because I was like, well, at least Americans aren't the craziest people. Because in the UK, they heard a 4-year-old talking about a Fortnite game and called her anti-terrorist.
For God's sakes!
Well, they heard him talking about his dad having guns and bombs in his shed.
Right.
It ultimately came out that he had been at his father's house the night before and was playing Fortnite, but he was overheard talking about his father having bombs and guns in a shed. So,
but what's funny is they send the 4-year-old to the and not the dad. Like,
right?
Why would you?
Yeah, no, it's a weird system.
4-year-old is setting up some kind of terrorist attack. Like, it's a 4-year-old.
Well, it's about like indoctrination and having people not be indoctrinated into like that's.
Yeah, I saw that. But
I mean, if you look at what the things that have happened in France and stuff with the teacher.
But here's the basic thing with children, and you have children. I have a daughter, and they don't remember shit until they're over 5 years old.
No, you're right.
You're not indoctrinating anybody. The kid's gonna forget this stuff in a year or two. I saw this and it made me think of what Cameron said, that they just is immediately where they go.
It's funny because I didn't even picture him as being, anything other than, I don't know. I didn't even consider what his like race would be. Like I just
no, exactly. And that's
when I first read that, I was like, oh, okay. They had a different tinge.
Well, right. And actually the first time I was watching him with Tom Connors, he didn't mention that till about a half an hour in, and I was just riveted with everything else he was talking about. And then he said, I'm a victim of this stuff, and I'm supposed to be right in their demographic.
That's interesting. That's interesting perspective. Yeah.
It really is. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of goofy that this 4-year-old got turned in.
Yeah, it is kind of a like you read the whole story and you're just like, wow. But the world is crazy, man.
The world is crazy. Before we get to the other one, we do have to do what we normally do and report sadness.
Yeah, I remember seeing this.
I mean, 91's a good run. I mean, it was gonna happen at some point. But Christopher Plummer, Shakespearean trained actor, one of the best of all time, died right here in Connect the Dots.
Really?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So everyone remembers him mostly from Sound of Music, but not me. I remember him as General Chang from Star Trek VI.
I was just gonna say that. Yep, General Chang.
If I'm not mistaken, he actually would be appalled that everybody remembered him from The Sound of Music because he hated being in that movie.
Oh, did he really?
Oh yeah, he called it The Sound of Mucus.
That. Was he the dad? Was he Brad Pitt's dad in 12 Monkeys?
Yeah.
I just watched that.
Yeah.
I knew he was nearby.
The scientist guy.
Because if I knew he lived nearby, I'm probably one of the few people on the planet who also hates that movie. I hate that movie.
Which one?
Sound of Music.
I've never seen it.
I don't know much about it.
I've never seen it either. Musicals, but I hate when
really?
people.
See, I feel like everyone's seen it but me. That's funny.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, me neither.
The movies where people spontaneously break into song just drive me nuts.
Oh, I like them generally. I don't know. In the middle of Nazi Germany, maybe not. I don't know. I remember Jotten.
And it was great that his role
Yeah,
as General Kang actually had him do a lot of Shakespearean lines.
Yeah.
In his,
I'd pay real money if he'd shut up.
kept quoting Shakespeare the whole time.
They actually had to rewrite the entire Klingon language for to be or not to be.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah, they did because originally the language was written without the conjugation of the verb to be.
Oh.
So they had to rewrite the entire Klingon language to fit that phrase into it.
So Mark Okrand, who did the Klingon dictionary, had to go back and do a revision because of this movie.
Yes.
Really? I was not aware of that, and I think I've known most Star Trek trivia. I'd never heard that.
Oh, learn something new
Yeah,
every
it was
day,
impossible to say "tak ba, tak be" before.
Yeah, right.
Before,
at the dinner.
That's right.
To be, not to be, Captain. That is our question. Hitler, Earth, 1938. So yeah, I mean, he's been in just about everything. The last thing I saw him in recently was Knives Out.
Oh yes,
right. Yeah, of course.
The Rian Johnson movie that actually isn't bad. It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just go on and on and on and on. I mean, Time Bandits and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's throw a dart. Throw a dart at your movie collection. You're gonna hit 5 Christopher Plummer movies.
Yeah.
I actually worked on when I was just out of film school. I worked on a promotion for a stage show where he was the narrator.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a Christmas show called Mooseltoe.
And that was here in Connecticut, Pete?
It was in New York.
Oh, okay. Well, he lives down
Yeah,
in
but
Greenwich.
Christopher Plummer was the narrator.
Cool.
Wow, that's awesome. So yeah, that just sucks. I mean, every week we got one of these now, and it's just a bummer. But hey, I mean, he's an all-time great. I mean, he's second to none. I mean, how many of the Star Trek movies did he actually do? He did Star Trek 5 as well.
Christopher Plummer was in Star Trek 5?
Was it? Yeah, he was, wasn't he? No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. That was
David Warner.
David Warner.
David Warner was in 5.
Right.
He was in 6.
Yep.
No, he was just in 6.
My brain is melting. It's been a long day, and my dinner was a.
Oh wow! I didn't hear about.
Dinner was a protein bar. That was dinner, so I'm kind of zooming out. Anyway, Marty Schottenheimer is probably the greatest NFL coach that never won a Super Bowl. Actually, I don't think he even won a playoff game. If memory serves. No, he won a few with the Browns in the 80s. He's at over 200 wins. Just was phenomenal. He coached the Browns in the 80s, coached the Chiefs in the 90s, coached the Chargers up until about a decade ago. he was just phenomenal, and beyond being a really amazing football coach, he was just an awesome dude. Like, just everyone loved Marty Schottenheimer. He's, you know, they have those coaching trees in football. The coaching tree from Marty Schottenheimer is quite impressive, including Bill Cowher from Pittsburgh Steelers. But the one thing Marty was always remembered for is that he'd have teams that were like 14-2 or 12-4, favors to go to the Super Bowl, get in the playoffs, and tank in the first game. Like year after year after year, he got very conservative. He was afraid to let his freak flag fly. Like Bruce Arians. What's that? You got to risk it with the biscuit. And he shut his offenses down and he played conservative and he got beat year after year. And it's just a shame because that's going to tarnish his reputation. It's probably why he's not in the Hall of Fame. But he died just today.
Oh, wow.
Afternoon.
That's okay. That's why.
Yeah, I saw it this afternoon and I said, I'm going to have to add that to the stream. But as a football fan, that was kind of heartbreaking to me because I always liked Marty, even though he coached the enemy year after year. The year I remember the worst, it was like 2007. The Chargers were 14-2 and the favorite to go to the Super Bowl, and he made it to the championship game, and he lost to the Patriots at the very end of the game, and got fired.
Oh.
14-2, you get to the championship game and get fired, and he never worked in the NFL again after that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, just insane. And well, you look at the Chargers; they don't know what they're doing. So. So this one, I saw this on Yellow Flash's channel yesterday, and I was laughing my ass off. Bag?
You're laughing your bag off?
Sure, we'll go with that. I laughed my bag off. Heck no. So apparently this woman who writes for the LA Times has this little winter getaway bungalow, and she put her Biden signs out in the front yard, and her neighbor had his Trump signs out in the front yard. And they came over and cleared her driveway for her, right? After this big snowstorm.
Yeah.
Like it really looks like the guy backdragged the driveway like a pro. But she didn't want to thank him because...
Wow. That's...
Wow.
She did not want to thank him, I don't think. I think she wanted to thank him, but she didn't want to overly thank him. Be like, we're like cool now with everything.
What the hell, Matt?
What?
Because he voted for the other guy? Like, what does
that has nothing to do with the common decency.
Nothing to do with... That's... The guy goes over...
I think she's just saying she doesn't want to be best friends with him. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
Like, that's cool. Like, she appreciated it, but she like... Where's the line? I think that's what she's pondering.
So this is how desperate the LA Times
Common courtesy is the line.
They have common courtesy. They have to go write like a borderline hit piece and publish it. Like basically, yeah, the guy's a really nice guy, but he voted for Trump.
What
does that do with it? Like that's just
this whole thing about judging people by just what one action is it crazy? It's so crazy.
Some actions are indicative of who you are as a person, and what your ethics are, and what your ideals are, and what your ideologies are, and all of that. Right. Some things.
You're right.
Aspects of people show something else about them.
But you can't just assume that, though.
Yeah, you can't assume that. Some people.
Like if I see someone put their cart on the grass instead of rolling it over to the cart hut,
easy.
I judge that person. That says something about that person. I'm sorry. I don't
but going into a voting booth, though.
But going into a voting booth, and a lot of people are just partisan voters. They vote for their party no matter who the frig it is.
We don't know how she knows he's a Trump. I didn't even just because
the sign they had.
I thought they put a sign out.
I didn't see it. I didn't read it. I messed that.
They had dueling front yard signs. She put it in her Twitter that they had dueling front yard.
She put it in her Twitter.
Yeah. But clearly, a guy who would do something like this is not some kind of a scumbag who, I mean, the guy across the street is the same way. And he comes over, like when he sees me at the bottom of the driveway struggling, he takes his plow and clears it for me.
Right. I mean, I think a decent person would do that.
I have neighbors.
But if I was a journalist, I wouldn't go and write a hit piece that, driveway, voted for the other guy.
People are so petty.
They really are. That's exactly what I saw it as, Jason. It was just like stupid petty. Like, what do his politics have to do with him doing something nice for you? And oh, by the way, I think she was just flexing to show her vacation bungalow.
Probably. That was
Doing it right. I guess she's a vacation bungalow.
Racism on full display.
This is like, I think I think the point for me is that it seems like a conversation you have at a dinner party with your friends, and you discuss, well, what do you think about this, and why? How would you feel about that, and like whatever. Not necessarily does it rise to the level of being an article in a major publicated newspaper. You know, I agree that I see. Yeah.
It's ludicrous, and like I said, I saw it more as she's flexing because the picture of her giant home in Colorado or wherever it is, like, okay. So she feels like she's punching down because she's better than him because she voted for the right guy. Stacy, you brought this one to the table.
Which one?
Oh, wait. I have to share the screen. Hold on. I got to find the button. Wait, let me push the button and get the story up. This one.
Yeah. Well, you know, we talked about the other side and like how we were just talking about how she was trying to collect more and more dirt on him, and this must be why.
Yeah. Kim brought her up, which was interesting. Yeah. So I didn't have a chance to really read this.
So they're going to listen to more further evidence to try to kind of reverse what they said originally, the court in England, about against the newspaper, because he was suing them for like defamation or whatever. Right, and they ruled it as substantially true. And so his legal team had vowed to argue against those results. And now that they have decided to allow them to try to come up with further evidence to you know, back up what they were saying to begin with, to kind of reverse what was going on. So
and Blair O'Ken with the Star Trek font wants me to buy their jacket in the worst way. Yeah, good for Johnny Depp, because I going back to that when we covered that story a while back, like, you know, he starts losing work all over the place because he lost a defamation suit against a paper that was running a smear campaign on him. I was like, how does that cost him work? Because
it's all, you know. I mean, I think they're both kind of got whatever issues, but I don't.
Yeah,
one side shouldn't be losing more than the other. That doesn't seem fair to me. Either they both should be working, or neither of them should be working. At this point.
Right.
I mean, he's also suing her for defamation in Virginia for a 2018 op-ed in the Washington Post, in which she is countersuing against him for $100 million. So it's the you know.
And people say to me,
"Saga continues."
Why haven't you been in a relationship in so many years?
I've never been in any kind of relationship.
What a mess, huh?
I think crazy attracts crazy, though. I mean, I think that's part of the problem here. You know?
Yeah, you're probably very right.
I mean, I love Johnny Depp. He was on my wall when I was in high school, when he was in 21 Jump Street, for sure. You know,
that definitely explains my issues too.
You have pictures of Johnny Depp on your wall in high school?
No.
Sorry.
Crazy attraction.
I mean, I wouldn't judge you. I get it. Yeah.
They find me.
Yeah.
I mean,
crazy.
Yeah. Let's just say Johnny Depp's not a normal dude. Okay,
he's not a normal dude. He's gone somewhere else. But
yeah,
interesting fella.
But at the same time, I didn't see anything that like this cancel culture went out and just killed him for.
Yeah, I think it was unfair.
For losing a lawsuit against a tabloid rag.
They're out for blood, man, and the slightest drop in the water, they go nuts for it.
Yeah,
and simultaneously rewarding Amber Heard.
Right. I mean, she's gotten some backlash, but not like him.
Taking a dump in his bed.
That's so weird. Is that true? Did he take a picture of it? I should have.
I guess that came up in court. I guess like they presented that as like evidence that she took a crap in his bed, which is why now she's Amber Turd.
I know it makes sense.
So, have you seen this, Edson? I'm sure you've seen this.
Oh yeah,
I read it. Did you read the whole story?
Yeah, I've read the whole story, and they've been trying to smear Stan Lee since he died.
Yep.
And Jackie and I are doing the Charlton Comics documentary, and Jude's working on it too. And you know, we know people who've known him forever, and they were furious when this stuff started to come out in like 2018, 2017, that he's a womanizer and all this kind of stuff. They're like,
oh, I didn't see that. Like,
oh yeah, that's basically, this book is like a smear job. This is a hit.
Oh.
Trying to expose the true Stan Lee that nobody ever knew, and he's dead and can't defend himself. It's aggravating.
Sounds like a sick money grab.
It's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
It's exactly, this guy who wrote it used to write for the blog site The Vulture. Vulture. And they've been writing hit pieces on fans. They've been writing hit pieces on people, nonstop. And Stan Lee falls into that demographic right now of problematic, the white patriarchy. And he created all these characters that are now being retconned and changed because they're problematic. I'm sorry, he built an empire. He built Marvel. All the money these people are making altering Marvel characters and putting them on TV screens and changing the comic books wouldn't be able to do that without this guy's contribution.
Yeah, I mean, I think I found the article interesting. I mean, I personally, I have positive thoughts about Stan Lee and his contribution. And when I think of Marvel, I think of Stan Lee. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand as far as my layman understanding of comics and comic book movies. I mean, I thought one of the things I thought was interesting, though, what they talk about in the biography was the guy Jack Kirby that kind of was like with him. And we've talked about this before, where people have done all this like creative work and not got any credit. And like, I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. And it wasn't really necessarily like a huge dig at Stan Lee, more just like, it kind of seems like that's part of the process in a lot of these situations. That's
not a newsflash. That's been around forever, that Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby feel that they deserve co-creator credit on a lot of these characters, because the way Stan used to work is that Stan would draft up an outline of a story,
right,
and hand it to the artist and give them carte blanche to run with it creatively and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And then he would take it back and put it in the dialogue.
Right.
So Steve felt that they deserved co-creator credit, but
Stan's he ended up getting it. Like, he died like the 90s or whatever, but like not that long ago, he was actually given the credit of the work that he did. I mean, that was interesting.
And Ditko too. Steve Ditko got co-credit for Spider-Man.
Okay.
But that stuff's common knowledge. That's been around forever. Okay. It's the stuff where Stan was predatory and these kind of things.
I felt like more like he got sucked into predatory stuff. That's the way I read it was like.
Kind of had that.
He kind of had like his like his apex at one point, like the big climax of his career, and then things kind of like he was bored or he just what I mean, and he was kind of vulnerable to people, taking advantage of him and doing
He always he wanted to use the Marvel comics as a gateway to Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
He always wanted to make his characters into cartoons and live action and whatnot. He had big dreams. He's a dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think. I mean, some people try to take advantage of him, but the other thing is that Stan is one of those guys who just likes to smile and hug people, and
he's a people pleaser.
Right. And I think he was oblivious to the fact that touching someone without their consent in the modern times is problematic. And
I didn't see that at all. Like, I didn't see that aspect, at least not from this description.
Apparently the book's going to go into this.
Okay. I didn't see that.
And he loved Joni like nobody's business. Like,
right. And that was one of the things that said, like, after she died, it kind of, that's where he was most vulnerable to people that were taking advantage of him. And,
right.
Yeah.
And one of our friends, Joe Sinnott, who's probably the greatest inker of all time, who passed not long after Stan, about a year later, knew him better than anybody, and was just kind of beside himself with the stuff that was coming out back then. So I just think, who said it's a cash grab?
Me.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. So I don't know. I'll probably get it and read it and get angry, but
Well, I remember like when he was like the last year of his life, the stories of like what his like driver or his assistant or whatever like beat him up or something, like did something. He was elder abuse or
he was a
something.
victim of elder abuse. People abused him.
So sad. Like, you know, and I just no one.
And
was
it's reported
advocating for
too.
him.
He had a very antagonistic relationship with his daughter as well.
That's what it said. Yeah, that's too bad. So no one was advocating for him and keeping an eye out for.
Yeah. You know, those are the kind of things too. Like Stan Lee's iconic. He's just one of those people like Walt Disney. Like I'm sure
and scumbags are they want to try to get in there and
Yeah.
get something out of them.
just
right.
Let the guy. He created modern mythology. He created a whole century's worth of. I mean, he did it all too. Between the years 1961 and 1963 or 64, he created basically the whole Marvel universe. It was one hit after another.
Right.
Fantastic Four, then the Hulk, then Spider-Man, then just one after the next. The X-Men and the. He couldn't be stopped. Couldn't be stopped. It was amazing.
I mean, I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone that even if they read this book could, you know, feel like that could be taken away from him or you know what I mean. And that's his legacy. That's who he is. And
it kind of made us sad, you know, in his last years that people were just trying to diminish him in his role in the whole thing, you know, trying to paint him up to be some kind of bad guy with some kind of devious intentions. And, you know, I met him in 17 and it was clear like he wasn't in charge of all of his faculties anymore. He got tired quickly. I made a joke to him. I told him Joe Sinnott said, I forgot what Joe Sinnott said. And I told him, you know, I was up at Joe's house and he kind of, but he was like tired, you know? So, but I got to meet him, which was great. Anyway, Chris Pratt. Did you see
this poor guy?
This is shenanigans.
Actually be the wacko story of the week.
Yeah, it really should. It's weird.
And I learned something, how easy it is to fake a tweet. There's fake creators all over the internet. I went and tried it out. It works.
Really?
Oh my God. Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, anyone with a brain in their head, if you like, even if Chris Pratt felt any of these things, which I find it highly unlikely, there is no way he would post these things on Twitter.
Exactly.
You know, come on. Like, give me a break.
The whole thing starts because of those pictures we saw where he's on set with Chris Hemsworth.
What the
and
hell?
The Twitterati sees it and
a couple chuckleheads that like just don't have anything else to do with their lives. Like, honest to God, I swear.
So
oh my God.
This is awesome.
What the hell?
They go and Photoshop.
Wow.
These were Photoshopped. So I won't even read this.
Yeah, thank you.
Say it.
Please don't.
Look at the 412 and the 278, right?
Yeah.
412, 278, and another one, right?
Oh, right. Okay.
So dumb.
So they just Photoshopped like the same.
Yeah. Moron. They're complete morons.
Wow.
Just trying to paint him up as a bad
guy. And then they were saying it was like part of this little group as like a joke within their own little group. And it got morons. Like,
yeah, how is that?
Morons.
Right.
They should just have to show them. They should be like publicly shamed for this stuff.
I agree.
We need to bring back like the stocks we could chuck like rotten eggs at people that do ridiculous things like this.
And here's one of the people behind it. This Alexandria, I love Pluto. Normalize blaming Chris Pratt and Jeremy Renner for things they didn't do. She actually
good job.
Yes. What's funny about that? Like, why?
It's this. Normalize it. And that's the catchphrase. It's normalize this stuff. And if it's that whole thing that if you keep saying it,
so people believe it.
More and more people believe it.
Exactly.
Right.
People don't want to believe that. So I think you're.
Well, they've been calling for his head since he skipped the fundraiser, and then
that's real. But like,
this is real, and it's really they attacked him for this because
I know they looked into it. Stupid.
You have a Bank of America pen made in China.
Yeah. Well, I always laugh. I would never buy an American flag made in China. That just seems ridiculous. You know what I mean?
It's hilarious, right? Bank of America made in China.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody smarter than me can make a joke about this. He's being funny. Right?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
How is that?
Yeah, how is that anything but ironic?
Now he's like, he must be like, I don't know, a homophobe, right? Because is that what they say? When people say something, they just call them names.
They took it this way. Many took this tweet to be an offensive joke at the expense of the
of course it is.
Oh, for God's sake. What the fresh hell?
Cultural appropriation. They'll find any way to spin this stuff.
They want the blood, man. There's
the minute they put the target on you, you're done.
Yep. That's it.
He's not. He's all right.
And meanwhile, we talked about this with Cameron. They, Star Wars backs the years of her saying shite, actual shite like this. Yeah.
So ridiculous.
It really is. It really
so
makes me laugh.
Leave Chris alone. Leave him
Even
alone.
our old friend Elliot Page is after,
This, yeah.
It's just because of his church.
Yeah, good job.
That she's still convinced.
But they're just saying because like they don't reaffirm a gay lifestyle or have actively gay people in positions of leadership. Not every aspect of life has to have that.
Thank you.
Some just
exactly.
don't. I mean, it's great if they do and whatever, and that's where you go, and that's cool. You're whatever, but they're not outwardly condemning anyone just because they don't have what you want.
And he has said to her, apparently, he said, "My church would welcome you with open arms.
I'm sure.
Just come there. Nobody's going to, point you out or ostracize you for this."
Nobody has a right not to be offended by someone else's opinion. I mean, you're all different opinions. I mean, you just accept it.
Yeah.
Like
what's
I'm not religious at all. Like, and it
saying.
doesn't bother me that he is. Good for him. Like, I like him. He's a fun actor, and he seems like a really good guy. That's awesome for you. That's what you like, and
right. And somebody
not hating on anyone and whatever.
And somebody very religious should not make tweets about you for not being religious.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, the one thing I will say in his defense too, he doesn't bring that stuff to work. Whether he's that way or not, he doesn't publicly go out and say it. He doesn't bring it to his job. He doesn't say, "Oh, we have to have representation for my kind of, religious,
We're the Christian actors. I gotta leave. There's no Christian actors here.
Right.
What happened? Yeah.
That's like people were saying, "Oh, Tom Brady," the whole Tom Brady thing this week, like, "Oh, Tom Brady is Colin Kaepernick," and like the big difference is Colin Kaepernick brought his shit to work and put it on full display, and Tom Brady leaves it at home, and that's the big difference between the two of them. But they don't want to see that kind of stuff. It's Twitter, and please, Jack Dorsey, I know you're watching. Please monetize yourself.
Yeah,
that's the best way to make money, dude. Make people pay to tweet. I'm fully behind that.
It's entirely.
It's an Acme Dynamite kit. It's an Acme Dynamite kit, and I want them to use it. God, the world would be a better place without Twitter.
Boy. Wow, that's a quick one already.
Right. Well, so now you've got, this isn't like people on Twitter. This isn't people posting a blog. These aren't YouTubers making their opinion. This is mainstream journalists. I'm not done with the air quotes yet. Journalist. This guy, Darren Franish, incredibly refreshing. Just the headline alone. But this, did you guys read the paragraph? Oh, where is it? It's way in here. I should just do a word search. I can find it quicker. It's amazing. I gotta find it, and here it is. This one paragraph. In theater when someone's bombing and they drop the sandbag on their head?
Yep.
You go up into the catwalk and just drop the sandbag, and right? This guy dropped a sandbag on Alex Kurtzman.
Wow.
This is awesome. CBS did find room in its soul for the gleefully irreverent evil. And if you're not aiming to be transgressively weird with Silence of the Lambs sequel, well, why bother? Clarice's other co-creator is Alex Kurtzman, a practiced IP hack.
Wow.
A practiced IP hack This is an Entertainment Weekly. Known for Transformers, various Star Treks, a failed Mummy, and the worst Spider-Man. That's a lot of money made off other people's originality. Can't we institute some kind of limit on this stuff? Like maybe a person can only work in 4 pre-existing universes per decade?
Wow.
His participation makes Clarice feel even more like a dastardly act of franchise capitalism.
Oh my.
I'd believe you if you told me Kurtzman was planning a Buffalo Bill prequel series or a throwback procedural where Clarice Starling's dad solved 60s crime.
Jeez.
Do you think they meant to leave that in there? Or was it like a...
Yeah. Shots fired.
Well then.
He dropped the sandbag from the rafters onto Kurtzman's head.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe that? In a mainstream publication like Entertainment Weekly.
It was way down, so maybe they thought no one would get to that point, and if they did, they deserve a good.
But you know, unlike look at these access media sites with all these rumors, and they're bloggers, right? And there's no editing, like there's misspellings and bad grammar and all kinds of mistakes.
Yeah.
This passed through an editor, and they let that go. They let that go. So when Cameron was talking about the reckoning coming this year and house cleanings and whatnot,
looks like there it is.
Yeah.
You know, they've CBS All Access is a dumpster fire, and they're rebranding as Paramount Plus.
Paramount, yeah.
Yeah, I just keep commercials for it.
It's just going to be the same garbage. It's all the same shit. Just under a different name, and you know, a pile of shit by any other name is still a pile of shit. So, yeah, that was awesome. Awesome.
That was refreshing. Finally, somebody who isn't part of the fandom menace saying it.
Right. Like
you know, it's the same echo chamber of like, you know, this guy doesn't like it, and this guy doesn't like it, and this guy doesn't like it. So it's nice that finally somebody in the mainstream is getting it. The guy's terrible.
Yeah. Thank you, con guy. That's the difference. That when people who leave their beliefs at home you don't give them anything to use against you. I mean, look at how they're trying to get rid of Chris Pratt. Look at Jon Favreau. He leaves it at home, right?
That's right.
Let's see. Share screen.
Chris Pratt wasn't even doing anything.
Well,
he was leaving it at home, and they're still going after him.
Yeah, right. Well, that's true. Well, they're desperate. They're desperate, so they're making up shit about him.
Making it up.
Tom Brady. I mean, look,
here we go again.
I'm not the biggest Tom Brady guy, but they're doing the same thing. This whole week, they've been digging up Tom Brady had a mega hat, and Tom Brady done that. Tom Brady this, Tom Brady that. It's like, look, you know, there was actually one woman, I should have clipped it out, said on Twitter something like, you know, all the attention he's getting for winning 7 championships when there's so many other great black athletes. It was like, what? He won 7 championships.
That's not taking. Yeah, one thing is, has nothing to do with the other.
Right.
He was like, there's black quarterbacks in the league, but they haven't won 7 Super Bowls.
Right.
When they win 7 Super Bowls, guess what? They'll get the same accolades.
Yep. They'll get it when they win 2 or 3.
But that's when people like that's the shit. It's driving me nuts that has to be the backbone of every story. Has to be this. They have to they're trying to call out racism and injustices, and it's that don't really exist. It's just a story. The guy won 7 Super Bowls. That's never going to happen again. It's never going to happen again. Patrick Mahomes is not going to do it.
No.
It's not going to happen ever again. You know, like I said, I'm not a Tom Brady guy, but what the hell? Tip of the cap, man. He went to a different team and won again. So a shitty team that only had 7 wins last year. I thought this was interesting because we did the whole stock market thing last week that Mark Cuban tutors the Reddit traders on their next move as AMC Entertainment and GameStop fall. If you can afford to hold the stock, you hold.
Yeah, he had an open forum with the Redditors too, like which normally he charges for his advice, and that's pretty cool, man.
He always
a character.
He's a kind of a man of the people, you know. He's a self-made guy, and we've seen stories in the past where he'll just like go to McDonald's and work for free for a day.
He's a regular guy.
To keep him humble, to remind him, you know, and I think that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good on him.
Yep.
I mean,
agreed.
Yeah. And good for these Reddit guys. I hope they win in the long run. I don't care what they get painted out as in the media. They deserve to do what they did. They deserve to hold their stock, and they deserve to profit off of the backs of millionaires who have been screwing them, billionaires who have been screwing them, screwing all of us for years. So,
yep.
Go Mark Cuban. Hold on. I got a stupid pop-up on the next story that I can't. Oh, you.
boy.
It won't go away. Ah.
Skip it.
Okay. I'll skip it.
Was it a good one to skip?
Yeah. It's the one I put in the calendar as OCW, the gift.
Ungiving, yes.
Oh, there it is. It's right there. You got it.
Right, but there's no X. I can't get rid of it. It just, this thing won't go away.
Right.
Because Cosmic Book News is hurting for cash, apparently. They get this non-go-away ad I can't get rid of.
Wow, how are they renewed already? Jeez.
That will get renewed.
Nothing else.
That woman's ratings are cratering. They blamed the NFL. Then they had a week without the NFL, and they kind of held the same. So,
but still bad.
Right. I mean, did they really think there was a huge crossover between NFL fans and Batwoman?
Yeah.
I think they had like 40,000 extra
You
views.
can skip it.
What was that?
You can skip the ad now.
Oh, I can?
It says skip
who?
ad.
Oh,
Yeah, it just makes you watch.
Play a video though. I'm looking for like the little X to click.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's okay. You can ignore it.
I thought Flash was already pre-can. Didn't they cancel Flash last year?
That's what I heard. I heard it was coming to an end.
I guess not.
It seemed like it, but now they're.
And then Legends of Tomorrow. I thought
Apparently not.
I thought Legends of Tomorrow was gone too.
Overstayed its welcome. Yeah. And then they've ordered additional episodes of Superman and Lois and Waka.
They haven't even started yet, right? They haven't even started.
That's not Walker, Texas Ranger, is it?
I think it might be his son.
It
Is
is
it
a
his
remake
son
of that.
or something? Oh, it's a remake? I was thinking it was his son.
Oh,
I don't know.
Son of Walker.
I assumed that.
No.
I just watched the commercial.
I will watch this pilot, the 2-hour movie or whatever, and do a review. I'm curious. It looks okay, but it is the CW, so I'm sure they'll be full grown.
Is that going to be an update of the 90s show
too?
With Terry Hatcher?
No, it's a little different. It's kind of more like Smallville. And it's using the guy who what's his name, Tyler Hockman or whatever, who played Superman on Supergirl.
Right.
Yep. And they have 2 sons. One is like a jock. Jonathan's the jock, right? Edson?
I don't know because I haven't read too much into this.
It's like Jordan and Jonathan or something like that. And one's like a nerdy kid. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. One's like a nerdy kid and one's like a football jock, and only one of them is going to have superpowers.
Oh, okay.
They're both
Yeah,
alien.
it's which one?
It doesn't make sense because obviously they're both part alien, right?
Correct.
They should have some alien.
And in typical CW fashion, it's going to be the nerdy, brainy kid who gets the superpowers.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, Dynasty? Are they remaking Dynasty?
I think
they've
it's
been
already
remaking.
out.
That's
Yeah.
just a renewal. Yeah. It's been going on for a while.
Some people need their stories, man.
I
need-
literally have not turned on the CW until Batwoman in like years. It's been like 4 years since I watched anything on that.
I watched Seinfeld at 11 o'clock on CW.
Oh, well,
That's it.
Same thing.
I
That's my
bet
go to sleep show.
Seinfeld's crushing it on this channel. And
I
it's
know.
5 years old.
The only thing I watch on there.
That whammon is just cratering. Yeah. Well, good luck, CW. They just keep making the same crap over and over again, and it's just not working.
Dun dun dun.
Now to the juicy stuff.
She's creepy. That's the original one, right?
This is the original Kamala Khan.
Is it from like the 70s?
She has. Here's your Seinfeld, Stacey. She's got man hands.
One man hand, just one.
She's
That's foreshortening there.
It's
That's some
actually
crazy.
like kind of like a woke comic person because she's kind of androgynous. I mean, she's kind of like a female. Like I thought this was the new one at first before I read the article.
Yeah, no, this is the character they've been trying to get people to buy into for years. And
yes, this is your newest favorite superhero, or else.
I think her comic book has been canceled and rebooted 732 times in the last 4 years.
Really?
Maybe 733 times.
A lot.
They put her on that Avengers video game as the prime. They sold it as an Avengers game, but it was really a Ms. Marvel game, and that's why it lost hundreds of millions of dollars. And then they put the
She's Ms. Marvel?
Yes.
They appropriated the name. They appropriated a name from another Miss Marvel who became
Carol
Captain
Danvers.
Marvel.
Yeah, Carol Danvers used to be the original Miss Marvel.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So in typical fashion, they want to use someone that's already indoctrinated in Marvel
I'm
and
so confused.
give her a new name.
Yes, we all are, Stacey. And we saw that. Remember, they had that Marvel membership thing where you could send away for her.
Yeah.
In a Spider-Man costume.
Yes, that's her.
They keep trying to give us this character that nobody really asked for, right? Nobody wants to see a Kamala Khan movie or her in a show.
Is her hand always big like that, or does it become big, like when she needs
She
it?
stretches like Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Not
always
so
like that.
She can like have big hands if she needs to.
Big long legs, and she can grow
if she
3 feet
needs to. You
tall.
don't-
Yeah.
She's not walking around with that hand.
And they make her like, and they make her.
It kind of makes having a secret identity really hard if she's
I
got
know
this giant hand.
It could be a medical issue. People could assume that it's like a medical
She's got
problem.
gigantism, and she's quippy like Peter Parker. She makes these.
Oh, well, that's fun. I like that.
Well, yeah. If you weren't copying somebody,
If you
else,
weren't
yeah.
completely ripping off two existing characters badly, and like look at the costume; it's so uninspired. Like, what is that?
Well, they have the new one, the new girl.
Well, I was gonna say, hold my beer.
But these guys are kind of like the Teen Titans are, like the way the Teen Titans were. Like they took like the adult superheroes and they gave you teenage versions of them, right? Like Robin and Cyclops and all that stuff, right? Is that not what they're doing here? I know you hate it.
Marvel Comics recently announced a brand new Young Squadron one-shot as part of their Heroes Reborn event. So Heroes Reborn is taking existing characters that work and changing them into new characters that won't work.
Well, obviously she doesn't work, so they're doing something else with her.
Oh, exactly. But hold on, we're getting there.
Wait a second.
Still not there.
This is Marvel. It's gonna turn into a shit show any second now. Hold that thought.
They're already, I bet, on Twitter, you can schedule tweets. They have tweets already scheduled for like next month or whenever this comes out, attacking the fans for not buying this. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Already on scheduled, like, wow, you istophobes. So here's what, Jason, you're going to love this. Have you seen this yet, Jason?
I haven't, but I'm scared.
Oh,
you should be.
Buckle up. You're going to love this. Remember Nova?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is the new Nova. Kids
Spectrum. Yep.
Say it with me now. What in the fresh hell is this?
We always have some use for that statement in this.
It looks like something I scribbled when I was 5 years old on the back of a napkin.
Well, yeah, first of all, the art is like atrocious. It's Marvel Comics, for God's sakes. It's Marvel. The House of Ideas, or the House of No Ideas.
Wow.
What like seriously, what is this?
Oh, that's putrid.
What's wrong with Nova?
He used to have a cool costume.
Yeah, it gets better. But wait, there's more. It was based on this guy, Dr. Spectrum.
Oh, yeah. That brings back memories.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes
Miles Morales.
I'm confused by this. Like,
He's
because
Falcon.
isn't Miles Morales Spider-Man?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Why? And he's Falcon, like the Falcon, like from the Marvel movies, Falcon.
Yep.
Yeah, why is he switching identities for?
I'm so confused.
You're not the only one.
That's what we call this. Marvel Presents. I'm so confused.
So he's not Spider-Man anymore?
Apparently not.
Not
He
this.
was reborn. No,
He's already a person. Like, I don't
this is
understand.
basically it's just this is Marvel's take on what DC just did with the future state.
Right.
Where DC said, "Oh, let's stop selling all our regular comics for 2 months and put out these kind of like what if."
What if?
Right, gotcha.
Reality, like
Well, yeah, 'cause it goes on to say like it's a world without the Avengers.
Now, here's the
so-
thing. I have heard that Future State isn't that bad. I've heard that a lot of it's pretty good, actually, and it's selling pretty well.
It is selling.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's any good, but it's selling.
I'm not going to buy into it. If anything, I'll wait for the collected edition.
Right, right.
Yeah,
One or
same
two.
here.
That's why this is called Heroes Reborn. They're reborn as different heroes.
Different. So they took the 70s costume, the Sam Wilson, or the 80s, this Falcon miniseries. This was actually a great miniseries.
It was a good.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So they're taking that 80s costume that he had and putting it on Miles Morales.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Who seems to be the go-to for like retconning an existing hero. It's just like they keep Miles Morales. And
Poor
then
guy.
we get to Kamala Khan, who's now known as
Girl power.
Wow.
Can you come up with a?
That's a little too on the nose there with them.
That's a little on the pandering side, you say?
Yeah, I think.
Wow.
Now remember, DC has Power Girl, so they couldn't use that.
Oh.
So they invert girl
Wow.
power.
You can come up with something.
Yeah, to me that's like, hey, come over here. I'm going to smash you in the face with this cinder block. See if you feel it.
How would you like your metaphors served up today? Blatant or obvious?
Yeah, yeah. So
Based on another Squadron Supreme person.
Power Princess. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Now these Squadron
Well, she is, yeah.
these Squadron Supreme characters, I'm like, I didn't even read this in the 80s. It was just like, oh, yeah. I mean, okay.
I did. I actually loved them.
Did you?
They were,
Did you?
Yeah, they were analogs to the Justice League, but they
Yep,
used to
exactly.
Yeah, they were able to screw around with them.
So this is it. It's one shot called Young Squadron, and it's going to sell 5 copies, and they're going to get all pissed off.
No, but don't you think it's kind of like the same idea as like Teen Titans? That they're kind of trying to do the same thing, like the young versions of.
But they have that. They have.
But they have young versions of that.
They have. Yeah, they have.
Just do it as they are now. It just.
Yeah, it's
Right. Just take the. Like Nova is like a teenage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not their first foray into making
Four-way?
four-way, yeah.
That's a difference.
It's not their first foray into making a group of teenage superheroes, but they. So in that sense, yes, it is a Teen Titans aspect to it, but unfortunately, they didn't do it right.
And they've successfully done it before. They've done it with the New Warriors, and they did it with Young
New
Avengers.
Warriors. Yep.
New Warriors. Those were successful.
But not the new Warriors.
Right.
No,
Right.
Safe Space. That still hasn't come out.
The old ones.
The old New Warriors.
The old New Warriors.
Yeah. And Runaways was a success too, about a decade ago.
Yeah, that was actually Runaways was that was fun.
And what was the mutant ones of the
New
Mutants? Yeah, they were the younger versions of the
Mutants?
X-Men. Yep.
Generation X.
Remember Power Pack?
Yeah,
Power
Pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
So
trying
there's
to
a history. There's a history of them doing it right. So
Yeah. Oh, they're doing it wrong.
Yeah, in fact,
They thought they'd try it something new.
Yeah.
here's a whole bunch of them on Amazon, the trades you can get, the New Warriors. And
Yep.
I was
Those are
trying
great.
to find Daniel Kibblesmith's on. Hang on. Let's see.
Yeah.
Daniel.
I think you're gonna.
The one that here it is.
Oh wow, got 1.5 star.
But I don't know who could have created that.
Problem
because
is, it has never been
nobody got
released.
this book. It's never
Oh
been.
really? Oh funny.
It was promised back originally in the spring, and then it got delayed until the fall. And it was supposed to be for like a 5-issue miniseries, and then they said we're just going to put it out as one book, and it's going to come out on October 27th. You can see right here. I put in a pre-order. I had to get this,
Train wreck.
Train wreck. And then this happened on October 27th.
Oh weird.
Yeah.
Nobody has seen this book. I think Marvel's burned every copy.
Why?
It's not even on Comixology, which is digital. Like, okay, you're not going to bother printing and shipping the books because it's shit. But you could put the digital comic. It's done. They won't even put it out digitally. They're humiliated by this. I guarantee it.
Huh.
I agree.
Look at these characters. Who the hell? Look at this. This is a terrible. Let me see if I can. Look at that. I thought it was a joke. I really did. I thought it was a joke when I first saw it. I was like, "There's
originally I
there's
thought
no
it
way
was,
that's
but-
real."
Yeah, I thought it was a spoof too.
But then I found out that he wrote the book Santa's Husband and went, "Oh, that's no joke. It's a space station." Yeah.
Can you stop saying that, please?
What's that?
Santa's husband. I can't say
Oh.
it. Sorry.
I'm going to buy that this year and read it at Christmas. To all of them.
You should make it a special. Special
Make it
time episode.
a GeekTime TV special event.
It's
Of you reading it out loud.
I
Yeah.
won't be showing up for that.
I don't know if your brother's watching. Judah Buddha, this one's for you. I dug this out for you because he keeps talking about how he's excited for the new Suicide Squad movie by James Gunn. And they actually put the synopsis out. Did anybody read the synopsis?
I did.
Wow. Yes.
I watched the little trailer thing the fan made at the bottom. It looks kind of exciting. It's pretty stacked. With,
Yeah, it's that's my only thing that I'm worried about is it might be too
many people. Yeah.
Too stuffed.
Idris Elba. You got Idris Elba up in there.
Yeah, Idris Elba's awesome.
Yeah.
And John Cena, and there's a whole bunch of cool.
Yeah, John Cena. That's crazy.
And more Harley Quinn.
Yeah, she's the only one that comes back.
You know what? In an ensemble movie where she's gypped of some screen time, that's a good thing.
Pete Davidson is in it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yes. He's one of the guys. I think that's why he had blonde hair last year or 2 years ago.
This
when he had
sounds
blonde hair.
so. It's Welcome to Hell, aka Belle Reve, the prison with the highest mortality rate in the U.S. of A., where the worst supervillains are kept and where they will do anything to get out, even join a super secret, super shady Task Force X. Today's do or die assignment: assemble a collection of cons, including Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Captain Boomerang, Ratcatcher 2, Savant, King Shark. Yeah, baby, King Shark. Now we're talking. Blackguard, Javelin, and everyone's favorite psycho, Harley Quinn. Then arm them heavily and drop them literally on the remote enemy-infused island of Corto Maltese. Trekking through a jungle teeming with militant adversaries and guerrilla forces at every turn, the squad is on a search and destroy mission with only Colonel Rick Flag on the ground to make them behave, and Amanda Waller's government techies in their ears, tracking their every movement. And as always, one wrong move and they're dead, whether at the hands of opponents, a teammate, or Waller herself. If anyone's laying down bets, the smart money is against them. All of them. So, yeah.
That sounds kind of interesting.
Michael Rooker's in it too, you know? So, yeah, it's not much of a synopsis. It's basically it's like the pitch for the comic.
Peter Capaldi's in it, which I'm looking forward to.
Yep, Peter Capaldi. It is packed. Alice Brock. Like, it's just packed. If anything, Sean Gunn. I mean, these people aren't going to get enough time. How do you Sylvester Stallone?
Some of them might get taken out pretty early.
Viola Davis, she's going to be Amanda Waller again. So, yeah, this. I mean, it didn't say much except that the mission's going to be in Corto Maltese. Like, I was hoping for a little bit more on the plot, because the rest of it is like what we already know. They've got bombs in their heads, and and they have to go do what the government wants them to do, or they're dead. So, but it's fun. It's a superhero Dirty Dozen. If you've ever seen the movie The Dirty Dozen, it's the same thing. It's a lot of fun. Now, speaking of a lot of fun,
the Dirty Dozen here.
Yeah.
Considering how many cast members are.
Yeah. So this caused a big stir, and
you told me about that.
I had to help a friend move this weekend, and I stopped at my comic shop on the way. I haven't been there in a couple of weeks, and I ran over and grabbed this off the rack and bought it. Marvel artist Joe Bennett accused of anti-Semitism over artwork error in the Immortal Hulk number 43.
Okay.
Now, before we even go there, this book is edited by 3 people, including Tom Brevoort, who spends most of his day on Twitter.
Oh boy.
Joe Bennett might have made a mistake. And I've heard from other people on YouTube and whatnot that apparently Joe Bennett, the English is his second language anyway. So you'll see what he did. But the fact that it got through editorial is either that's how sloppy Marvel has gotten, or they let it go.
Ooh.
What did Cameron just say about these people?
Yep.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. He's got Bruce Banner as Joe Fixit again. And Joe Fixit goes to a pawn shop. And I don't know if you can see this. I'll blow it up. Actually, I think they blow it up. So what he did anyway, but let me back this up. As part of this issue, he decided to pay tribute to a lot of past Marvel Hulk artists and writers.
Okay.
And he's wearing the 616 ball cap, which is the main timeline in the Marvel universe, is the 616 timeline.
Yep.
So like they have Starlins for Jim Starlin instead of Starbucks. You can see the window. They have Kirby and King, and Stan Lee's name is over there in that window over here. So he's going to pay homage to like all the guys. Al Milgrom, I think he had a Milgrom's in here somewhere. I don't know, but anyway, it goes on. It's the Busimas. Like he just try to call out like all these past great. Sure. So there's probably some in here. I haven't even read the issue yet, but here's the panel that the Twitter people found and immediately started attacking Joe Bennett. Look at the window.
It's a Jewish star.
Oh boy!
And above it, and maybe you see it better up here.
Yeah.
Right here. Let me blow it up more. Remember, he's drawing this backwards in English. Yeah. Jewery. Jewelry.
And the name of the name too. The name of the store was wrong. There's an extra letter in there.
It is his homage to David Cronenberg, the director.
Right.
Cronenberg, like how people say it, Cronenberg, but it's Cronenberg.
Right.
So he blew that one too. But of
I
course,
missed the jewelry part. I didn't even notice that when I was looking at it.
That's the big one. The one everybody's mad about. Milgram's book is named after Al Milgrom. And
well, they're trying to say that it's like anti-Semitic because like it's like feeding into some trope that all that Jewish people are with a diamond, like
right. Because he's got an L because he's drawing it backwards, which he says, I was writing this backwards. It was a completely intentional.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah. It's supposed to be jewelry and
home is right underneath it, right? So so he apologizes and says, I'm gonna reassess the way I work and the whole thing, and he bends a knee and he just takes the beating. And I just see it as, I'm sorry. He might have made that mistake, or it was intentional. Even if it was intentional, that's editorial's job.
Yeah,
editorial's got to say, hold it, Joe. You can't put that in there. You've got to go back and redraw that.
Right. Why wouldn't it be caught? That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's weird that it wouldn't be caught with 3 editors.
Yeah.
3 editors on this book. And nowhere in this piece on Bounding into Comics do they even mention, gee, the editor probably should have caught that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's wonderful.
It just seems like if it was on purpose, like how could you think that would go by? Like how unnoticed?
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like,
but then you wonder, it went through 3 editors, past 3 editors' desks, including Tom Brewer, who sits Twitter all day long. So he's lazy. He probably missed it. But the fact that this is Marvel Comics, like this was the gold standard of comics. Like back in the day, there's no way that would have gotten through. And I brought it up at my comic shop, and I said, "That's not on Joe Bennett. That's on the editors." And the guy says, "Well, mistakes happen, but not like that. No. That should not happen. The editor's job is to scour every panel on every page.
Exactly.
The art, they're looking for misspellings. They're looking for grammatical errors." Jason, you've been reading comics your whole life. Am I crazy?
Absolutely 100% true. That's their job. And if they're not doing their jobs effectively, they shouldn't be editors like this. I mean, this is egregious. And it's unacceptable in an editor type of environment.
And it makes you wonder because Al Ewing, the guy who writes the book, is a notorious Twitter SJW. So is there something there? Is Al Ewing like, I want to get rid of this guy? Did somebody take that in editorial and change it? Did someone actually spell it wrong intentionally and let it go through? There's a lot of theories behind this. You know, who knows? I mean, it could be as basic as a simple mistake that got past 3 editors' eyeballs and into print, or there was some nefarious way to try to frame Joe Bennett and get him canceled. Yeah, it's either way. They've fixed it, so every subsequent printing and shipment going forward will have it fixed. Which is why I went and bought it. It's already going for $30+ on eBay. So I should have bought more than one. Maybe if they're still there this week, maybe I will.
Oh, they won't be there. I don't think so.
I don't know. Like, the comic shop owner didn't even know about it.
Oh, okay.
I got to get this, and he goes, "Why?" I mean, I buy the trades of Immortal Hulk, you know, the collected editions, and I said, "The mistake," and I opened the book and showed him, and he goes, "Shit, like that happens all the time." I'm like, oh no, it doesn't.
I'm surprised.
All the time.
Yeah, maybe he's used to the way Marvel works these days. It's like
these days, right?
They are sloppy. Yeah, I mean,
Marvel and DC are sloppy.
Yeah, so
they're not what they used to be. Like, there's no way back in the day that would have gotten.
No.
Remember Batman's penis from like a couple years ago, and Batman Damned?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. That's right.
Let that one go.
That's like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, Batman Damned. He showed up in a cave completely naked, and you saw the old Batarang.
How could that be a mistake? It's drawn.
Yeah.
Just Lucius Fox made it for him. It's all right.
Not like a nip slip, you know? Like
Somebody in editing just said, "Hey, oh well."
Yeah, like that's a. You know, we went over the sales figures last week. How manga's just absolutely crushing American superhero comics, and it's so sad.
Yeah,
and we're gonna get to a little bit of that in a bit too.
Oh boy, yeah, this.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, who's shocked by this?
Yeah, we talked about.
It's.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I mean, the year of the coof, theaters closed. We get it, but I think a better movie would not have tanked as badly. Especially in China and places where they're basically open again and the theaters are thriving. But Warner Brothers keeps deeming it a success, and it's still out in our theaters. You couldn't pay me money to watch this again.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're blaming the coof. What a shame. But then, you know, they're also talking about how Wonder Woman 3 is going to go back to its darker edge, its more serious tone. So,
a good way.
If in a good way, like the first movie.
Yeah,
so
that's like a good movie.
It's such a big success. Why are they going to return it to the way it used to be?
Yeah, please, Zack Snyder, come back and fix this.
When it was good. When it was good.
Yeah. So, let me do this, Zack Snyder. So this was a great story. Speaking of Zack Snyder, he did an interview recently, and they tried to bait him into trashing the fandom.
Oh wow!
I remember reading this when it came out.
You know, okay. Did I like Man of Steel? No, not really. Did I like Batman versus Superman? It was okay, but not particularly. Did I want to see his Justice League after those 2 movies? Not really.
Not really.
But when the fans rallied for him, and at first I didn't care, you know, that like release the Snyder Cut thing. I was like, please don't. You know?
Yep.
But then it happened, right? The fans made it happen, and the fans did like charitable work, and they got it to. They got Warner Brothers listened to them. I mean, I remember over the summer, I was so excited. I was like, this is a win for everybody that a major studio listened and spent money to give them what they wanted, to give them what they asked for instead of what they don't ask for, right? And force some other crap down their throat. And then I saw Zack Snyder on the DC Fandom live streams, and I was like, he just seems like such a good person. And he went through such personal hell.
Yeah.
Losing his daughter and losing his job, and just he seemed so grateful and emotional that people cared enough to do this for him, to fight this fight for him. And I was like, you know what? I might not think his movies are high art, but I really like him and respect him as a person. And then I read this, and I'm like, you know what? I'll watch anything he does going forward. I'll just pay the money and support this dude. Because he backs us. So he said, I think it's just sour grapes, he said to author Sean O'Donnell regarding the naysayers who denied there was any material for a director's cut and that it could be finished. There's no other way to say it. We know the people who are the architects of that narrative, and it's pretty obvious what their agenda is, Snyder continued. Those are people that I've been held back from confronting by wiser people in the room. And that's the narrative that, we're toxic fandom menace, the whole thing, that he should detach himself from the fans. Snyder then admitted that he'd like to have some one-on-one time with said people, stating that he would love to get at some of these characters. Some direct conversation would be nice, he said, just to say, one, you don't know shit about what you're talking about, and we can break down anything they've ever said. Sounds like the guy we just had on at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, no kidding.
The director then added he could make a list of things skeptical critics got wrong. I can make a list. There's a few of these guys where I could just get a list of everything they've ever said and thought was right, and I could tell them every single thing they've said is wrong, said Snyder. The director also impugned the credibility of said critics and, without naming names, explained how he'd love the opportunity to just say to the world and to fandom in general who these fakers are and what should be done to them or with them. It's just a bunch of BS. Sounds a lot like Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Snyder then defended his pilloried fandom, a group who has come under regular fire for being either too passionate or too toxic. Clarifying to O'Connell that his fans and supporters were actually quite charitable, as they demonstrated by their raising of $250,000 for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. In regards to that toxic fandom, or it's a win for toxic fandom, again, in what world does this toxic fandom raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for suicide prevention? How is that toxic fandom, he wondered. They've probably achieved more than any other fan base and done more good than any other group, so I don't understand. So, good on him.
Yep.
I will support anything he does, good or bad, because he's basically got our back because we had his. So it's a symbiotic relationship.
Good for him.
And the fact that he got that the fans got this bankrolled and his 4-hour cut is coming out in about a month is a great story, I think. So go Zack Snyder. I'm getting all emotional now. Let me just quickly see what we got left. Not too much. Oh, geez, I had a follow-up to the other story. We'll follow it up now. We'll do it. This is Quentin Tarantino style. We're all non-linear and shit. We're gonna skip time. There's more of this Heroes Report.
Oh yeah.
You sent this one, Edson.
Yep.
I should have put this next to the other one. I don't know how it got displaced, but Hyperion and the Imperial Guard. So yeah. This is Edson's
this
book.
is the one. Oh my gosh, I fell over my chair. I couldn't.
What?
I didn't know what to do after I read this.
You see who's writing it? Mark Bernardin. Mark Bernardin is Kevin Smith's podcasting partner.
Oh Jesus!
The two guys who cry about everything and praise everything.
Right.
Don't have a critical opinion.
I can't believe this.
This looks. Who wants to read a book about this? It's the new life of a non-superpowered Peter Parker.
Right. So
the description reads, Peter's the biggest Hyperion fan in the world, because who wouldn't be? Just look at that. Toxic male.
So yeah, he's reborn as a
Be
non-superhero.
chummy with his favorite hero thanks to a photography get at the Daily Bugle. Surely nothing can go wrong with his camera and him in the heart of the action, right? Really? Who wants to read a comic book about a photographer?
Yeah, that's
a teenage photographer with a man crush on a superhero.
That's how he's reborn.
A Shazam knockoff, no less.
Yeah, that's weak. That's weak sauce.
Yeah.
Weak. Super weak.
Then you have Magneto in the mutant.
This one too. It's called Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants.
I thought it was Magneto and the Mutant Force.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, Young Squadron. And then the Siege Society, which is some villains and a Black Widow and
Zemo.
Saber. Is that Hawkeye down there in the corner?
I think that might be Kate Bishop, perhaps.
That looks like a dude.
Yeah, I can't.
Don't assume gender now.
Is that Ant-Man?
It's a gender fluid Hawkeye.
It's the they them Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So here it is: Baron Zemo, Natasha Romanoff, Clint Barton, Scott Lang, and Victor Creed.
Wow.
So, yeah. Who asked for this? Like what? Again, it's like, are they trying to go out of business? Like, Disney's going to shut this down soon. Disney can't afford to take. Who's going to buy this garbage?
I'm flabbergasted for the second time tonight.
That actually makes Future State look really good.
It actually does.
Future State has better covers.
And you know, in I saw this pulled this up the other night on Friday Night Tights. He's like, this is
what the hell?
This is the recent America Chavez comic book. You know, they're bringing America Chavez into the Marvel universe. They're
the beloved character,
the one Kevin Feige said in our video open. Yeah, the very popular character that sold 6,000 copies of her book. 6,000 copies. It's embarrassing. So, Stacey, your face was great.
What?
Your face when I opened this was great.
I was another time. I'm very confused. Very confused.
What sort of fan art is this?
Thank you, Pete. First of all, this is not art up to Marvel standards by any stretch.
No,
their mouths aren't even connected.
Professional comic book publisher of any kind.
Yeah.
I mean, if I saw this, no. Look at the Habsburg jaw over here on this page. I mean, I don't want to rip on people's art, and art is subjective, and but this is not. Marvel used to have a standard. You had to be the best of the best to work at this company, and now they'll take any cheap labor they can get, and I mean, it's bad, but it gets better.
Are we backing this on Kickstarter, or is this a
right? This is like the next page. Listen to this dialogue.
Yeah.
So the girl in the car, I think that's Kate Bishop in the car. She says, "I'm literally intrigued and in awe of both of them. If this is what it's like to date other women, then I applaud all the women dating women right now because this is incredible. Motorcycle courtship chase, check. Missiles and explosions, yep. And now we're just flying together into the sky, heading into a giant heart. I swear if we come back married, I'm going to be so jealous. Sigh. Always the bride's best archer, never the archer bride."
Oh, bad.
Oh, wow. The suck is strong with this one.
And they wonder why they can't sell comic books. Who the fuck would read this?
That's such bad.
Isn't this what you want in your superhero books?
It's weird.
It's
and it's not because they're two ladies. It's just
no. It's a clear.
Disingenuous.
It's a self-insert. It's the writer and the artist are self-inserting. It's mostly the writer, clearly, because that dialogue is absurd.
Yeah.
And it's got that like indoctrination kind of tone to it. Like you should let's applaud.
Who is this for? Like who's the audience that this is like geared toward.
Well, again, going back to what Cameron was talking about earlier today, it's the audience they think they're supposed to go after.
Okay.
And it's the audience who doesn't buy shit.
That doesn't buy comic books.
This comic book lasted 12 issues and sold 6,000 copies each, or in that neighborhood. That's an abysmal failure. That's not even worth printing. Look, I mean, substandard art. The writing is abominable. They got to insert their identity politics into it. This is superhero comics are supposed to be escapist. Superheroes are supposed to be like the Greek gods or the Asgardian. Well, they actually use the Asgardian gods, right?
Yep.
I mean, where's the fun in this? I grew up reading comics. Jason, you grew up reading comics. Edson, Pete, you grew up reading comics.
Yeah, this is.
Did you ever read anything like this in the 4 or 5 decades you've been reading comics?
No.
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 If I open up this page, I look up the comic shop and it's like, what the hell is this? And just drop it there on the ground.
Yeah.
But this is what they're doing. And you know, it's absolutely mind-boggling that they can't understand what's going on here. And they just keep doubling down. Kelly Sue DeConnick. If you don't like my politics, don't buy my books. Okay.
You got it.
If this is what you're writing,
wish granted.
Yeah, exactly. Be careful what you wish for.
Is she the writer?
The best part about your book is that I'm not buying it.
I don't
know who the writer is.
I don't know who the writer is, but he writes stuff just like this kind of stuff. And superheroes are supposed to be bigger than life and just a lot of fun. You might have gotten this kind of stuff in an independent book, and that's fine. But Marvel superheroes? I was slack-jawed when I saw that. I could not believe it when I saw it. So conversely, as we wind this all down,
not gonna get any worse.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves, 600,000 copies.
Damn,
of Berserker #1, which comes out in 2 weeks. I did the Kickstarter. I bought the 3 collected editions, which I won't get for another year at least. Yeah, that's fine. I knew that. It said like 2 years, but
wow,
I might have to go buy a couple of copies of this #1.
Right.
So where I just showed you America Chavez, the world's most popular superhero, America Chavez, sells 6,000 copies. Keanu Reeves sells 600,000 copies of a book that most of us have already bought. Right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Are they putting into this is 600,000 that the comic shop ordered, right? From the
comic shop ordered 600,000.
So this doesn't count the $1 million spent on.
Oh wow!
Right. This is totally separate from the Kickstarter campaign.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Because that wasn't selling the comics. That was selling the trade paper or the collections.
Gotcha.
The collections.
Wow.
So basically, paid for the first 18 issues in advance that are going to be bound into 3 books.
Okay.
But if I want the floppies, if I want the monthlies, I got to go buy them separately.
Gotcha.
And you're right, Edson. That's the 600,000 copies that have been pre-ordered by comic book stores. Once they sell out, they're going to want more.
Wow.
So I have a feeling when this is all said and done, this thing's going to sell like 1.5 million copies or something.
Wow.
I mean, it harkens back to the old days.
6,000, you say, huh? Wow.
But America Chavez, the world's most popular superhero, sold 6,000 copies and lasted 12 issues. But we're getting her in the MCU, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
They're going to give us a character nobody wants or asked for, along with Kamala Khan. The 2 of them, man, are going to take us to places we've never been. So, yeah, here it is. It's got a couple variant covers. Edson, you saw the story. I don't think I
don't think I put it on here.
Yeah. Is it this cover he autographed? Sold for $2,000 or something like that.
Wow.
I'm trying to think if it is this cover. It's a variant that he signed.
Yeah.
And it's actually goes for $2,500.
Okay.
But it was on I think one of these direct to consumer. The Midtown had it for like 20% off at $2,000.
Now here's the thing: we've been ripping on people who self-insert. This is a self-insert, but it's a good one.
The right
if that's not Keanu Reeves,
That's a beastly Keanu Reeves right there.
Beast mode, Keanu.
Yeah. For
He's
sure.
clearly putting this out there for his next movie role. This is what he wants to do next.
Oh yeah,
It's gotta
this
be.
has got
It's
a
gotta
movie
be.
written all over it.
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
This is a movie.
So yeah, Ron Garney is the artist. Ron Garney lives here locally in the Hamden area. So I'm going to try to get Ron on, and by proxy, maybe Keanu Reeves.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Well, like Cameron said, ask.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you do, and I ask him to be my best friend, do you think he would say yes?
He definitely would
He
say.
probably would, but he'd say, just don't try to get into the relationship I have with Keith, because
We can all be best friends.
he's my best friend. So yeah. Yeah. Can we all just admit that we have man crushes on Keanu Reeves and
I
Stacey?
definitely have a man crush on Keanu.
Well, you have a regular crush because,
Oh.
but us gentlemen, us hetero gentlemen, us
He
cis.
just seems like a really good guy. There's just something about him. I don't know.
agree with you.
He just
Which
does.
is why I don't. People
His
laugh.
energy.
If we ask Ron Garney to come on, that's not a stretch. He's the local artist in Hamden. But if
Yep.
he brings Keanu with him, and I
my
don't think that's out of the. I don't think that's a stretch. I really
Just
don't.
like 5 minutes on here.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have to stay for hours. Just come on for 10 minutes and pitch. the movie.
Until all of our heads explode, and then the show will be over. It'll be fun.
Well, he can come into the pre-show, so our heads can explode before we go live.
Oh, that might be fun.
Yeah,
it'll just be him.
Come on the air, putting our skulls back together. But I don't think it's a stretch at all. Especially if they start doing publicity tours and whatnot. He's gonna have to come to Connecticut because Ron lives here.
Right.
So, Keanu offered the role of Kraven the Hunter maybe in the next Spider-Man.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now, this seems like a thin rumor. I think this is kind of, they're ginning up to see what the response is.
It's being reported all over the place, though. Like I saw this in a couple different outlets.
Yeah. Well, my response is Emperor Palpatine. Do it.
Yeah,
I think Carl Urban would be better.
that's what kind of. I read an article where saying that like a lot of Spider-Man fans were kind of pushing for.
Yeah, I'd take
Carl
Carl.
Urban.
Yeah, either one.
Either
But
one.
then again, he already did play somebody in Thor.
Yeah, he did. But
So,
he
he's out of the running.
died. He died in Thor.
Right.
Thor
But I think this
Ragnarok.
would be part of that. I think this is going to be in the Sony universe because I think Sony's going to take the whole thing back because it says he's been apparently offered the lead role in Kraven, a solo film centered around the Spider-Man villain Kraven.
Oh, okay.
If
Yeah, it
they,
might not even have Spider-Man. Yeah.
they should. If they were smart, they would adapt Kraven.
I know. I'm just saying it might not.
Kraven's Last Hunt would be phenomenal, and yeah, I
He's
guess.
a bad guy. Keanu playing a bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, Kraven's interesting because he's one of these like anti-hero kind of guys.
Right.
Okay.
He's not. I mean, he's classified as a villain because of his ability, and he can go toe to toe with Spider-Man.
Mhm.
But he's. How do you explain it, Edson?
He's a sympathetic hero.
He wants-
sympathetic anti-hero.
Okay.
He just wants to prove himself to be the best at what he does. Hunt.
Right,
So
right.
when Spider-Man comes to, he's like he's got to be able to defeat. It's like it's like his next trophy to beat him. It's like
He's a
that's
very,
into him.
yeah, he's a very prideful person. Very
Okay.
prideful individual.
He's not going after him to become, a villain or to take over the world or to gain money or anything like that. It's more like he wants to prove that he can beat him.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah, that he's the alpha predator.
right.
And it has nothing to do with like he doesn't have grandiose plans of world domination or big light beams that go up into the sky.
What does he hunt? What's he hunting? Other bad guys?
Sometimes it could be that.
It could be. Mostly though, he's made it his mission to take down Spider-Man.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
But up until then, it was like he would look for the ultimate, whoever person, creature, opponent to do it, and then he found Spider-Man, and then he became the ultimate one.
Okay.
So he's just looking for that higher, more
He
difficult.
just wants power and to be the best.
Yeah, but he doesn't have avarice. He doesn't have dreams and goal like to go beyond that. Like he could die happy if he defeated Spider-Man. That would be
Okay.
And the story Kraven's Last Stand is probably the best exploration of his character. I would definitely recommend reading Kraven's Last Stand.
Mike Zeck.
Mike Zeck and J.M. Diamitis.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get Mike Zek. Oh, we got a couple comments in here.
Mr. Jude.
Bring back Spider-Ham. Spider-Ham #1 came out last week, dude. It's in the comic shops.
He's back.
We need to invite him on so I can say nothing but later, dude. You're good at that, man.
Is that like a reference to the Kevin Smith?
Yeah, I was teasing you about Kevin Smith. Yeah. While we're on Marvel rumors, let's go with one more. Did you put this in here, Edson, or did you do it, Stacy? It was just laying in here.
Oh, Moon Knight. It was me.
Was you? Okay.
It was me because Luke Cage. I'm on season 2 right now, and
Right.
it just kind of caught my eye. And I never heard of Moon Knight. It sounds really interesting.
Mikey Sutton, so it has a little bit of juice. I'll give him that. I love Moon Knight. I've said it. How much do I love Moon Knight?
A lot.
How much time do you have?
Really?
Where's John Amenta? Is John Amenta watching? John, this one's for you. I love Moon Knight.
Are you being
I love that
sarcastic?
picture.
Or you?
John, no, I love Moon Knight.
he's a
John
great
hates Moon Knight. John
Okay.
can't stand Moon Knight. If I go to a Comic-Con with John Amenta or hanging out with him or something, I always wear my Moon Knight t-shirt to piss him off. And sometimes when I go on his podcast and we do the Zoom call, I have my Moon Knight drinking glass
Oh my.
because he just hates Moon Knight. And I'm like, Moon Knight is awesome. He's so interesting. We've talked about him before. He's schizoid. He's got 3
Yeah, sounds interesting.
personalities. And yeah. And look how cool he looks.
He looks awesome.
That
Yeah.
looks good.
He talks to an Egyptian god that isn't really there.
Khonshu.
We don't know that for sure.
They're utilizing him for something though, like that. The movie that they're talking about him being.
Yeah. Yeah. He is often compared to Batman because, they've got that unstable thing going on because of personal trauma. But his personal trauma is just, he keeps slipping in and out of different personalities.
Wow.
Spectre being the most famous, of course. But do you read Moon Knight, Jason?
Yes, I do. Yeah. My favorite is the Bill Sienkiewicz, Doug Munch series from the 70s and 80s.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Classics.
Yeah. Yep. And it's the last one that came out. I forgot who wrote it. Was it Smallwood or?
Jeff Lemire did a turn on him, and Warren Ellis is great.
1 year. It was after
Warren
Jeff
Ellis.
Lemire. It was the very last time they put it out, and it was kind of weird. It had the sun god.
Yeah, I didn't read that one.
And it was weird because Mark Spector wasn't really in costume much at all, and it was just weird. It wasn't as good.
Yeah.
And this is from the Warren Ellis run, right?
The Warren Ellis run is fantastic.
So I've been saying since I saw the Netflix show that the tone of those Netflix shows screamed to give us Moon Knight.
It's perfect for Moon Knight.
Totally. I hope Disney does it right when they finally do it. But
Cool.
But to put him in an Avengers movie, okay, interesting rumor.
Yeah. I didn't even think there were going to be any more Avengers movies.
No, there will eventually.
There will be, but totally different Avengers.
Rumor has it it's going to be they're doing an all-female Avengers movie. But if I don't know. I mean, he's a Z-list character. Like nobody really likes this character. So
He sounds different and interesting, though. I think. Like,
oh, totally. I mean, if they do it right, people would probably dig on it. But to put him in an Avengers movie where you kind of want to showcase your top superheroes, and he's
right.
kind of that, and he's a vigilante,
Like America Chavez.
like America Chavez.
No,
you can't upstage her with Moon Knight. Jesus, I don't know. Do I? I'm having a debate because it is getting late, and there's a couple of stories here that suck. There's more. All right. There's two Lucasfilm attacking fans things again. You know what I'm going to do to those right now? I'm going to shut them off. I don't even care. We've talked about Lucasfilm morons forever, and I think Cameron put it perfectly when he said they're just going to let these people do it until they self-destruct.
Right.
Yep.
Because they're just virtue signaling, and their power. The Kathleen Kennedy story group has zero power, zero leverage, and they can say and do whatever they want on social media. The juice is in what Jon Favreau is doing. And all that stuff that he's doing that takes place between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. That's the time frame, and they're going to entertain us for a couple of years. The only thing I do find interesting about that, was it Az that brought it up? Somebody brought it up this past, maybe it was Ryan Cannell on Friday Night Tight, said the big issue facing Mandalorian right now, though, is it's going to be gone for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So I'm guessing Book of Boba Fett's probably going to come in first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. End of the year.
Oh, end of the year. All right.
They did say that, right? Yeah.
They've got to do something to bridge that gap because you can't go 2 years.
And
on the return
when
of
you finally get it, Grogu's story is done.
Yeah.
So there goes your cash cow as far as merchandising.
Well, Grogu's story is, I think, going to continue in Ahsoka.
Ah.
And maybe even in the Gina Carano show there. What's it called? Rangers of the New Republic. I think Luke and Grogu are going to keep popping up throughout all of those. They're just going to keep showing up here and there. They're going to have to check in with them somehow, or Luke might be on the run with Grogu too. I mean, I think what you're going to see is the Empire slowly rebuilding itself and coming to power, getting more power, especially with Moff Gideon, right? And if they bring in oh my God, the blue guy,
the bad guy.
Thrawn,
thank you. They bring him in too. Like that's going to jumpstart the Empire again. I think. So you might have a situation where Luke's got to keep jumping from place to place and hiding, and I think that's where Ahsoka. And of course, this is just what I think. There's absolutely nothing behind anything I'm saying. I just think that Ahsoka is probably going to be helping hide Grogu, helping Luke hide Grogu from this research empire. So I just think they're going to be a lot of fun. We're also going to get Obi-Wan in the meantime too, which sounds fun. I mean, I'm not the biggest prequels fan, but this show is 6 episodes, I think, and it's going to be done. And you're going to bring back all the players. Ewan McGregor's always fun to watch. He's phenomenal, Obi-Wan, and even Hayden Christensen, if he's in and you'll probably see Maul maybe in there. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, and with Qui-Gon Jinn's supposed to show up too, so
that's right. Qui-Gon Booze, yeah. So I'm gonna kill these negative stories because I'm not in the mood.
Thank you.
Not in the mood, especially after how do you top what Cameron brought to the table for 90 minutes?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
By going, oh look, another moron at Lucasfilm is calling fans racists.
Yep.
So let's go out on. There's 2 stories we'll go out on. Pete, there's always something for you.
Boy.
Oh boy.
Oh, okay.
And that's the freeze frame. I didn't get to watch this yet because I've just been.
Oh, it's so
running.
good. There's a few extra shots in it, but basically,
punching back.
Yeah. Godzilla hits him back, and basically he just bitch slaps him right in the face and knocks him on his ass
with his fist.
Yeah, he's up. He up and open hands him, and down he goes.
I'll watch this maybe before I go to bed. Wow. I just literally barely got home in time for the show tonight.
Yeah, I gotta watch this too.
I'm surprised they didn't do it with the tail. Turn around and tail whip him.
Right, that's what.
But what happens is he gets knocked down, and then he tackles him into the ocean. So that's we've probably seen the entire fight.
How many days until we go to see this? I cannot freaking wait.
March 31st.
Oh my God, that's how many days? Somebody who can do math? Who? All right, let's do it together. So
it's like 28 days in this month.
31 days in March, so we know there's at least 31.
31, yeah. And today's what?
So there's
19 more days left of this month.
Oh, okay. So
okay,
50 days.
Oh, I was going to say 40. Yeah, you're right, 50. Public school, baby. I failed algebra 3 times. Yeah, 50. But I can count money.
Yeah.
I'm good at
all that time.
That's all that matters. I'm the guy that takes out a tape measure, and I can't, I go, oh, that's 13, and so I just take a pencil and draw on the tape measure. I'm like, it's that.
Oh my goodness!
I'm like, oh, I got to break that down into fractions. No, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I hate math. Edson, you're good at math. You're really
13 and 3 of those little lines. That's it.
That's it. That's what I do. I just take it and I draw it on it. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
So then I go, there it is. So yeah, I just can't wait. I just want to go see a total brain fart movie.
That's what this is going to be. Just like I say, giant monsters punching each other for 2 hours.
All right, now there's 5 of us here. We took a little poll last time. There were only 4 of us, and we had a split vote. So, Jason, who do you want to win?
Godzilla. Absolutely.
Yeah. Pedro, we already know.
Oh yeah, Godzilla all the way.
I thought you were rooting for Mothra.
Mothra's not in this one.
Yeah,
Rodan, I think I've seen artwork. It could have been fan art. Rodan might make an appearance on this.
He's in one of the posters. Rodan. He's in one of the posters in the back.
Okay, that might have been what I saw.
Edson, who are you going for?
Oh, it's hard. I don't know. I kind of feel bad for King Kong. Today I'll just go with him, and then next time I'll go with Godzilla. It's hard. I can't really decide a lot of times with these two.
You just want it to be like the Super Bowl. You just want to see a good game. You don't really.
Yeah,
care.
exactly. Exactly.
Well, there's 17
that failed.
Where they don't cut away to anything. It's just going to be Godzilla and Kong scrapping each other for like 17 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
We know who Stacy wants already.
Of course. The one with an evolved intelligence,
So Godzilla.
No. And you know what? I feel bad for Kong because he was living his life on his island, and these stupid people took him away. Godzilla came out looking for trouble. So
Well, maybe.
Yeah,
because Godzilla gets dropped out of the upper atmosphere and basically goes nuclear. Kong gets chained to a boat.
Yeah.
But I'll take the ape over.
Godzilla exists because he got nuked.
He took a nuke to the face.
I got that.
I'm going nuke to the face, and Kong gets
turn on the humans and both eat them. Just eat those guys up.
I just have a feeling. I mean, come on, let's face it. It's Hollywood. They're going to team up and fight Mechagodzilla at the end.
Oh yeah,
I think so too.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
So, but I still want Godzilla. So that's 3-2 Godzilla this time.
Jude has chimed in as well.
Oh, he has. Up.
Yeah.
Whoa!
He loves Godzilla.
Okay. 4-2.
He dressed up as Godzilla for Halloween one time.
Nice.
Judah Buddha, you got those pictures?
He was like 3 years old. He was scared of himself in the mirror.
Nice.
I thought you were going to say like 2 years ago. I was like,
that's too funny.
So we see some pictures.
One of those plastic ones with the apron, and the little mask with the.
Oh, yep.
The Ben Cooper.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Ben Cooper ones. Yeah.
Ben Cooper. Yeah.
You know how much that's probably worth right now?
Oh yeah.
Let's conduct a little experiment before we go.
I'm on it.
On eBay. Ben.
Who would keep those? Wouldn't they all be in the garbage by now?
Oh no, there's collectors.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. What the hell? I thought I was typing in this.
Oh really? Probably somewhere at your dad's house. He said.
Oh, you go to a Comic-Con, people have tons of these old Ben Cooper costumes and
$26. That's it.
A plastic costume with the plastic mask with the one piece of elastic that goes on the back, like those. Like I was Wonder Woman.
I don't even see it.
I don't see it.
Oh, I see.
Hang on.
Share your screen, Pete.
That's Raggedy Ann. Is that a scarecrow? What the hell is that?
Shit. Yeah, dress up mojo.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we got to find that. Did you share your screen yet, Pete?
No, I private chatted it.
Oh, geez. Now I got to go dig it out, click the link, open it up, share my screen. It would have been easier if you just shared your screen. I could have popped it in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I try to share my screen, it goes into another dimension. I don't know.
$26. Is that the one you had, Jude?
It's probably a new one.
I don't think that's the same. Oh, yes, that is. That's exactly. Yep, there it is. That mask.
Right, let's see.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, look at that.
That's just classic.
The smell alone will get you high.
Oh,
it will. It
Remember the
just smells so
smell of
good.
Give you a head. There's the inside. Remember how
That was
sweaty
the one.
Petroleum. It's pure petroleum.
Save us from
Oh,
COVID.
really?
I bet if we
I
wore
picked the wrong day to stop smelling costumes.
Yeah, I'm looking at this like a Gamorrean guard from Return of the Jedi costs more.
Wow.
Yeah, this person's feet are in this picture here.
No.
Wow.
Feet too.
That's awesome, though.
That's
I
crazy.
wonder, these Ben Cooper masks would suffocate you. I bet we could all survive COVID if we all bought Ben Cooper masks and wore them around.
Ben Cooper masks? Why are they called Ben Cooper masks?
That's the company that made them, Ben Cooper.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And there's a whole story in that apparently, like, it's not proven either way, but people have made like mini documentaries and stuff that Steve Ditko stole the Spider-Man design from a Ben Cooper Halloween costume of a guy called the Spider-Man.
Oh.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Oh yeah, everyone hated the rubber band. I mean, and you couldn't breathe in those things because like the moisture is just like
we'd be safe from COVID wearing
you couldn't see through the holes. You're breathing into the thing. It was all you wear it on your head most of the time.
The freaking elastic
Your
would always
snot used to collect.
Yeah.
That's not an issue I had. I'm just
And then the elastic would re-staple it. How many staples did you have in there? Because you'd have to keep restapling it.
How often did you wear it? I only wore it on Halloween.
No, you kidding? If I had a Batman one or something, I put it on like every day and run around the house in my Batman costume. Which I always found weird because like it would have a picture of Batman on it. It's like Batman costume doesn't have a picture of himself on it.
Of course.
Takes you deep into the rabbit hole.
It's so fucking stupid, right?
Yeah, it's funny.
Let me see if I can find Ben Cooper No, I just real quick. I want to show you this because there's a dealer named John Cimino. Here it is. So John Cimino, this Ben Cooper Spider-Man costume is so rare, and he actually has one in the box in like almost mint condition. So here it is. Let me go to the images. So this came out years before.
Really?
Yes.
That is oh my gosh.
Here it is. 1954.
Wow.
Brooklyn Company. Yeah. And then in 1962.
Oh man.
So
there it is.
There it is.
Oh, that's the original.
That's the original. And then this is like
he was a man that had spiders all over him, like he was a spider man.
I guess.
The
Like
webbing is similar, but
that's John Cimino. That's John. Yeah.
So
let me blow that up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Spider-Man suit. Yeah. So he was tracking this a few years ago, John, and trying to find out if it was true. But I guess Ben Cooper apparently saw the Marvel comic and went, "Whoa, hold on a second."
I wonder if there are other mans, like is there like a bear man or something else man? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, well, here's the thing too. You're creating a character named Spider-Man. How big of a stretch is it to put him in a costume covered in webs?
exactly.
Right. Exactly.
It could possibly have been a scorpion man or like snake man and had, you know what I mean? Like it could have just been
Exactly.
right. It's not a stretch for it to have spider webs all over it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's go out on this. Our friend Edwin Acevedo
There you go.
is $20 past his goal in 1 week. He has 20 days remaining. I think we all back this. So Edwin, congrats, man. Where's my book? I am really, really happy for this guy, and he was a fun guest. We'll have to have him back again. And what I think is great about it is it's his first book, right? And when in a matter of a week, he got the money to do it.
Yep.
And I think that's just so encouraging for you guys, Jason, Pete. That's you guys are creative guys. You write. You're into comics. Like you could do the same thing.
Yeah.
You hook on with an artist, hook on with the right people. You don't need, as you can see, you don't need to make $500,000 or $100,000 or. I can't wait to see what this ends up at. I bet he's probably close to double, if not double, by the end.
It's inspiring.
It really is. It really is, and he's got no. I asked him. I said, "Well, how many other books have you done? How much experience?" None. It's his first time. He just wanted to tell an old-fashioned comic book superhero story. And the people backed him. So bravo. And it's if anything, like you said, it's inspiring. So I would like to see you all do something like this.
Yes, sir.
And get your creative chops out there. You're all super. The reason I've known you all as long as I have and I'm associated with you is because you're all mega creatives. You're creative and talented, all of you. So,
gracias.
Well, Edson just ditched. What happened?
Apparently, Edson didn't like what you said there.
He's going to get busy right now. He's going to go.
Okay, Edson, you totally suck and you're a hack. He'll come back now.
There he is.
Huh.
Go, buddy.
I don't know what happened.
You thought you don't like taking compliments, so I trashed you instead, and you came back. So,
Yeah, deservedly so.
no, I was just saying. I mean, I've known every one of you is a super talented person, and you deserve to do something like that and get your voice out there. That's why I asked you to be part of this too. Make videos, do whatever you want. So, populate the channel with your creativity.
There's my boy right there.
There you go, Bird Brain.
A Bird Brain comic.
So let's quickly go around the horn and recommend. And I like stupidly forgot to bring mine in here. I have to go get it. So I'll go last as usual. But let's start over below me right here with Jason B. What do you recommend?
Cool. I got a book I just read that I thoroughly enjoyed this past week. If you love 70s rock and roll like I do, and you love comic books, this is like peanut butter and jelly. It's a book on David Bowie.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
done by,
awesome.
Isn't that awesome? It's done by Michael Allred. He's an amazing artist. Yeah.
Yep, he is.
Madman fame. He's done X-Force, Silver Surfer. He is a massive fan of glam rock, of your Queens and your Slades, your David Bowies, T-Rex. So he put together this volume, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's called Stardust, Ray Guns, and Moon Age Daydreams, and it focuses mostly on Ziggy Stardust era David Bowie. But it's so thoroughly written, so well put together. The art is just amazing.
Oh, wow.
You can see some of the stuff in here. I mean, I think this is some of his best art of his career, arguably. And you can tell he has such a passion for this era of rock and roll. And he really puts every single detail in here of David Bowie's early life and how he became Ziggy Stardust, his influences, his aspirations. I definitely recommend it for anybody that's a rock and roll fan and a comic book artist fan.
I love all red stuff. It's like vintage pop art.
Yeah,
he's an old school. Yeah,
he's got what they call pop art style, which is very clean lines, very fluid. But it just pops out at you. It's very and his wife does all the coloring.
I was just going to ask, is Laura in the book?
Yeah. Laura colors it, and it was co-written by Steve Horton. So. I love David Bowie, so that was a must for me.
Yeah. Oh, I've been attracted to his art for years, and even he did Silver Surfer with Dan Slott, and I had to have it because of his art. I love his art. Just
his art is, and he's so distinct too. Once you see his art, you know it's him.
Yeah. It harkens to the '60s or something. It's
right.
Brilliant. And it's in its simplicity.
And it's super simplicity. He couldn't get work back in the day because he didn't subscribe to a house style, but that actually worked in his favor later on in his career. And
you see the big two got away from the house styles and kind of loosened up their, brought in people. Yeah. Look at how Humberto Ramos, his stuff is so eclectic.
Yeah.
Or Chris, what's it in Bacalo? Yeah, his stuff. Yeah. Which
and I think his first big break was Sandman. Neil Gaiman gave him a break on Sandman. So
back in the day, you had very few. You had like Bill Sienkiewicz, who they let out of the box.
Yeah,
or Walt Simonson, but everybody else had the house style,
right?
That Romita Buscema look.
Well, your Jim Steranko had an out there.
Yeah, that's true. Steranko had that. What's his face? Oh my God, I'm just
the Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. book that he was doing.
Yeah, he had that.
The Peter Max kind of.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm just trying to. Who's the artist?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know the style you're talking about. I can't remember.
I'm just drawing a complete. My brain is oatmeal, but yeah, great stuff. Pedro, what do you have?
I'm actually recommending a Disney movie,
All right, I gotta go.
The Black Hole.
Oh wow.
Nice.
This is their 1979 answer to Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's about a crazed scientist in this ship called the Cygnus, which is orbiting a black hole, and this hapless deep space ship happens upon it, and wacky adventures ensue. And it is a dark movie. They kill Anthony Perkins on camera.
Yeah,
this is a dark movie, and its science is kind of janky, but the visuals are absolutely unmatched, and it has Roddy McDowell as a robot named Vincent. Yeah, I recommend The Black Hole. This is one that I heard that they were going to remake, and I'm all for it, especially if they keep it dark.
It's a good story, and Anthony Perkins died so gruesomely. It scarred me as a kid.
Yeah, the noise he makes. Yeah, there's not a drop of blood in the movie, but it is a.
He gets shredded.
He gets a big robot named Maximilian who's got drill bits for hands. Basically, just kind of goes right through him, and the noise he makes will give you nightmares.
It did.
It's a Walt Disney movie.
I was 10 years old when that came out, and the only thing I remembered when I was a kid was, the black hole. Anthony Perkins is holding like a book or something in front of him, and it goes shreds through the papers and just chews him up. And it was
Holy cow!
I was like, "Oh my god!" Like,
yeah.
And the ending was a downer. The ending was a downer.
The ending is right up there with like 2001. It's just what the hell am I watching?
Yeah.
You know, they quite literally visit heaven and hell.
Yeah.
All right.
This is a Disney movie we're talking about here. 1979. It didn't do well, probably because it was so dark and everybody was expecting something a little bit more fanciful from Disney.
It also came out against Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah.
So
the music is really good in it too. I'm trying to see who did the music.
That guy.
John Barry. John Barry did.
Barry did all the James Bond. Yeah.
Yeah. The music is really good in it too. So
I gotta watch that again.
Cool.
When I first got Disney Plus, like last year for free, I watched it, and I gotta watch it again because a lot of it I was like laying in bed, like fighting fatigue watching it.
Yeah, it's an interesting watch. You're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it.
Don't expect much with the. You can see like the cyclorama blowing in the wind and like
but when the effects are good, they're outstanding.
Good, yeah. Edson, what do you got, man?
Well, in honor of our guest, I went and checked out Sleeper Cell. It's a show that he was one of the writers on. It's just 2 seasons. I finished the first season, and it's about this FBI agent. He's Muslim, and he goes undercover to infiltrate a cell in the United States, operating in the United States to carry out terrorist attacks. And he hates the fact that they're using his own faith to carry out in the name of his faith to carry out these attacks. And he spends like years in jail just to come up with this cover that he's like, not in the FBI or anything like that. It's really good writing in that. So I was glad that he was attached to that. So I checked that out. And if you guys have 20 minutes, go on YouTube and look up Miriam. That's his like short movie that he did everything for, wrote and directed and produced and everything.
Nice. Yeah, I got to look at that. Later this week, I will finally have a day or two off. I can kind of reach that. Stacy, what do you bring?
I don't know if I like what I'm recommending, but what I've been watching a lot are all the Marvel TV shows on Netflix. So I'm kind of making my way through that. Like I had started with Jessica Jones and I got through 2 seasons of that. And then I watched 2 seasons of Daredevil and I was like, oh wait, there's an order to these. So then I watched Iron Fist and then The Defenders and now, and I just finished The Punisher yesterday, the first season of The Punisher.
So you have like season 3 of Daredevil and then you're done.
Yeah, I still have season 2 of Luke Cage, which I just started. I still have season 2 of Iron Fist. I have season 3 of
Daredevil.
Daredevil, and then Jessica Jones and The Punisher season 2.
Wow.
So I still have quite a bit more to go. So I'm kind of like, some of them are really, there's some aspects I really, really like, and then there's some I don't really like, but I'm making my way through it anyway.
You could probably skip Iron Fist.
I like Iron Fist. I like him. I had never heard of him before. I like the kind of like mystical thing going on. I'm digging it. Seriously.
I do too, but
I like that better than I like the bad guys in Luke Cage. I love Luke Cage. He's awesome, and I love like inner conflict, and I love that whole part. But the bad guys are just like the drugs and the guns and the like. I can't stand Mariah and Shade.
Yeah, Mariah.
Cheesy. Like I just like, but I'm getting through it because I really like him, and I love how they pop up in each other's shows. Like Claire's been in every single one. The nurse and
the night nurse.
Did you watch Defenders? Did you see Defenders?
Yeah, I watched it. I caught up to that. I got up to watch up to the Defenders, and it was a kind of important because Daredevil takes place like I would have been confused watching Luke Cage. Why is Misty missing an arm? If I hadn't watched Defenders, I wouldn't have known how she got her arm chopped off. And the same thing, like, where's Matt? Like,
in the 3rd season that he's
like, I mean, obviously they show him at the end of the Defenders that he's still alive, but everybody thinks he's dead. So
I saw that story, Keith. You remember where Kevin Feige said he was going to bring back all the original guys from Daredevil, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. They said that's great.
Awesome. Bring him back.
Well, I mean, into a new Marvel series using the same actors as Netflix used,
which we wanted. When they took them away from Netflix, everybody said, "Just you got to bring back the cast." They better bring back Mike Coulter as Luke Cage.
Oh God, I can't imagine anyone.
Do them all. Bring them all back.
Yeah.
Baron Paul. Bring them all back the right way.
Oh, I know. He is a great Punisher. It's so funny how. The Punisher feels more real than all the other shows.
Well, that was the idea. In the comics, he was the one that felt the most real.
Yeah, like I remember watching the movie too, like, and it just makes sense, it makes more sense, and
the Thomas Jane movies, I own it.
I don't even remember. Like I don't know what happened.
John Travolta shrieking was so bad. One of the worst casting choices of all time. John Travolta is not going to scare anybody.
That's true.
So, yeah.
True.
But yeah, your take on the Netflix MCU is pretty much what I heard across the board for most people. It's like some of it's good, some of it's bad. Overall, it's.
But I'm definitely invested in the characters. I think like the main characters, especially, and some of the side characters. So
I only watched Daredevil. Is Luke Cage a hero for hire, or is he not?
Not yet. Like he's kind of going through like an internal crisis in the season 2.
He was created in the comics as a hero for hire. He's a mercenary.
Okay. It feels like he's headed that way right now because he's not really sure where his place is in society, and he's not making any money. He's doing all these things, and he was kind of fighting it, but now we'll have to see. I don't know how season 2 goes.
So they're inverting his origin because in the Stan Lee created him as like, I think it'd be cool if he's like, he had business cards and everything.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'll beat up anybody you want if you pay me.
Yeah.
Didn't he team up with Iron Fist as heroes for hire?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they have Power Man.
Really?
Yeah.
The thing that I think that the theme that goes through all of them, except for the Punisher, obviously, is that they don't ever want to kill anyone. Like, and the thing is, like, they don't want to kill the guy, but then like, they end up that guy ends up killed because they let him go and they just beat him up and he doesn't die. And then that guy goes and kills like 20 more people before they like get him. And it's like, just end it.
That's the whole Batman Joker
at the heart of it.
I get it. And especially for Daredevil, because he's like, he has his whole religious thing going on. And
he's Catholic.
That's kind of, yeah.
Which is why I love the Red Hood so much, because Red Hood's like, dude, I'm done doing it your way. I'm gonna freaking blow this guy's head off. Enough's enough.
Right. And sometimes, like, I feel, but I guess that's the whole thing, and that's where there was the intersection of the Punisher with Daredevil, and I thought that was really interesting in season 2.
That was the only thing interesting in season 2.
Yeah. It's funny because Defenders, it's all about Elektra and the hand and all that stuff. That's what the Defenders is about. Like,
well, in the comics, Elektra and the hand and all that stuff is awesome, but they did it so bad.
It's really great. In the comics.
They ruined. They messed that up on Netflix. That was the one thing I hated.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of like the
me
mystic
too.
part of it like, a little bit. I think that definitely could have been done better, but it was fine. I mean, I had never heard of Iron Fist before this, and I like him.
I grew up. I used to read Power Man and Iron Fist all the time when I was a kid. It was Luke Cage and him.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll be right back, so you guys can vamp. I got to go get my recommendation. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Okay. So, anyways, yeah, that's.
So
what
did you so did you look up like the order of?
I looked up the order where they came out, and then
right.
I was ahead because right now I should be watching the second season of Jessica Jones, but I had already watched that, so I think that's the only one that I got out of order because I watched those two right in a row. But now I'm like right on in order. So.
And that one has a season 3, right?
Yeah, I think that might be the last.
I think I only saw the first 2 seasons. I still haven't seen the 3rd season.
Yeah, I don't know if I like where it's going. It's kind of annoying, but.
So I was so worried about getting home late and missing Cameron that I forgot to grab I've been waiting. This came in finally. I ordered this a long time ago. You know, I ordered it actually after you and I saw a movie, Stacy. So I couldn't wait to show this to you. I've been waiting to get it, and it was like $60, $70 because it's out of print and it's hard to find.
Uh-oh.
And then I got really lucky. It was like $20 one night, like right after the New Year.
Oh.
So I got it.
Wow. 75th anniversary edition.
This is why you buy. I'm going to solo myself here. This is why kids out there watching, this is why your streaming freaking blows.
You didn't get me one, man?
I
see that look on his face.
If I see it, if I see it, I'll keep watching. It's Blu-ray.com.
Tell me if you see it. Tell me, and I'll order it.
Okay, Blu-ray.com. Just keep watching those specials.
Okay.
Here's why physical media freaking rocks. Okay.
What does it come with? It
75th anniversary came out 2016. This comes with this is you don't get this when you stream shit. So first it comes with this nice case, right? With Orson.
Nice.
It's terrific.
Wells.
Yep, yeah, with the and it comes with this hardcover book.
Wow.
And it's beautiful, and it's
Wow, just like shots from the.
It's like a only coffee table book reduced to fit inside a Blu-ray case, right?
Right.
But it's just amazing. Okay.
Cool.
But here's the best part. It's a sled.
What?
No.
I was just gonna say, did it come with
does
a
it have
sled?
like little things in the bottom?
No, this is amazing. So it comes with a Blu-ray sized reproduction of the program you got at the theater when you went to.
Wow.
Well, that's
They had
neat.
programs at the theaters for movies?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
You
didn't
can get
know
them in
that.
Japan too.
Actually, I went to see Hateful Eight, the 70mm show with Angelo in New York when they did the 70mm tour, and I got the Hateful Eight program.
Wow.
So, because Quentin
Cool.
Tarantino cinema, and he does things the right way.
Like
I'm
a theater.
so directionally challenged. It's not funny, but yeah, you get this awesome
Cool.
program, this miniature, But wait, there's more.
Mm-hmm.
This was for $20, dude.
Wow.
You could have really used a real sled though.
Yeah, I could have posted. Very.
Oh, I used to
terrific.
frame those.
Those are awesome.
Cool. Oh wow.
It gets
oh my
better.
god.
It gets better. The lobby card.
Oh my gosh.
A letter from the head of RKO to Orson.
What?
Jeez.
They really did their work.
What the heck?
Orson apologizing for being accused of ripping on William Randolph Hearst and saying no, fictional character. It's all the typeset and it's a reproduction of these letters. A press release about the release of the movie. A budget. The budget.
Damn.
Oh
the
wow.
budget of the movie.
What the heck?
Invitation to the premiere. There's a couple more here. This is the backside of the invitation to the premiere. This is it's basically a release form for it's dark in here. I can't read which actor this is, but it's a talent release form. Here's another one for another actor. I can't see who it is, but there's two of them in here.
That is $109 right now on Blu-ray.com.
Damn.
Wow.
Blue Ribbon Award for Best Picture. And this is the best part. This is the funniest part, and it's at the very bottom. Two receipts for like snacks at a pharmacy, like soda and stuff.
Oh my god, that's
Handwritten
funny.
by Orson Welles. So what's that? Two pastries, and what's the other one say? Studio party. So it's food for the party.
Yeah, because that's $61. That's a lot. So they must have got a lot of something.
And the other one was $38.
That's
And this
awesome.
is the end of the Great Depression, so that was like blowing
Must be
it.
a lot.
Buku money.
Jeez.
That's why streaming blows, folks.
In the words of Owen Wilson, wow.
Wow.
How cool is that? And I got it. I forgot I had ordered it, and I get this package, and I'm like, it was heavy, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Wow.
Open it, and I was like, holy crap! I forgot I bought this because I waited so long, and yeah, it was beyond worth it. So this is why Blu-ray freaking rocks.
That's a steal for $20.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, after opening this and looking at it, I was like, now I feel bad that like this was well worth $50. I should have just paid the $50. So, but it will fluctuate in price because you'll find it somehow. I was given
I
up.
wonder if it's so high because Mank came out on Netflix.
It could be. It could
Yeah.
be. I was ready to give up hope and just buy the regular Blu-ray because for whatever reason I never bought Citizen Kane. I bought it on DVD. I never replaced it on Blu-ray.
I'm looking at it on Amazon right now. $20.
That one?
That exactly what Keith has. $20.
Get out of here.
It's somebody who's like reselling it, I think, because it's not on Prime. It's like you have to pay $3.99 shipping. So I'm thinking.
Oh, I did. Yeah, pay shipping.
Oh, it's third party.
What? Yeah, I think it's third party.
Yeah, but that's so.
No,
yeah.
no, I'm saying I'm not saying
good.
it is for that much. Yes.
Oh, it's definitely worth it.
It says region free, so it's
Yeah,
not
it's
like
region
that.
free. I watched it already. It looks phenomenal.
So it is on sale there for.
Oh, I see it. 1903.
Yep.
Well, the regular price is only $24.99. Why are they selling it on the other thing for $109?
Yeah,
Because that ties directly to Amazon. They should know that.
That's weird.
And bought.
Oh wait, there's another one. The 70th anniversary book. Oh, that one's 114 on here.
This one's 75th, so it's a newer print. They remastered it.
Yeah, that's the
Gorgeous.
okay.
It's gorgeous. I mean, you cannot lose with this.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was fun watching it again. Not as fun as being in the theater, but
With really good popcorn.
with really, really good popcorn. So yeah, kiddies, order your Citizen Kane.
Do it right now.
Definitely.
Like your Uncle Pete did.
Did you really buy it, Pete?
I literally just bought it right now.
That's awesome. I'm glad that my recommendation was already
Already paying off.
It's already paying off. Yeah, it's oh shit! I gotta get this in here without wrecking it. I love the lobby cards and the posters, and it's just awesome. So yeah, that's like the best $20 plus shipping I ever paid. So all right, that's it. Let's go through our tasks we must do when it comes to this time of the show. We've gone almost 4 hours tonight. I gotta get out.
Son.
I gotta get up at the butt crack of dawn again.
Yeah.
You can reach us on the socials at GeekTime.net. That would be the Twitter, the Facebook, and the Instagram. And Minds. Oh, I think that we're at GeekTime Network on Minds. I don't know. I do Minds a little bit. I won't migrate fully over. First, I wish I could just take all the Twitter stuff and just migrate it over. But I don't know how to do that yet. That would be great. But when Twitter goes out of business soon and they monetize, you will have to find us there. Our website is geektimenetwork.com. I'm trying to keep up with it. And our email is geektimenet@gmail.com. Please subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. We can bring more guests like Cameron on more often and things like that. Really have some fun. I noticed he said he held back on one thing because our channel's not big enough and he didn't want to like blow it. He was like, I don't think I'll say it on this stream, but you know,
yeah,
I'll save it for somebody who has like 500,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Right. But and I'm not offended. I can't believe
not at all.
Can't believe we got him. So thank you, Cameron. Thank you if you're still watching or lurking out there. Cannot thank you enough for this fledgling little channel to have someone like you come on. I've been admiring you on these other streams for a while and just going, man, I wish we could have him. So yeah, and Lorena, we got to have Lorena. So I'm going to DM her as soon as we're done here. Maybe we can bring her in the next week or two, and that would be awesome.
Cool.
Check out her channel, Lorena Creole. She is the bomb. So yeah, I think that's everything. Did we did everything?
I believe we did.
I think so.
All right. Well, that leaves one last task at hand. Who's going to do it? It's Pete again.
See you next Tuesday.
If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, make sure you click the little bell icon to be notified anytime someone from our show drops new content here. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?